Hey y'all, it's me again, Joey.
Well, ready to let them loose?
Yep, that's it. Let's see if they make us run.
Oh,
Probably so.
yeah, that one tried to get after him, but other than that, what can you expect? I mean, can you blame them? Oh yeah, they're getting after us now. Go, Joey, go!
Hey man!
Hey man, buddy. I'm gonna get in the truck. You gotta go back and get your camera.
But also, just get as many as you can off the one next to it. Get out.
You gotta move away.
Do that side again. Y'all ready? Let's get started. Well, here we are again. Hey, everybody. Hope everybody's doing good. I hope.
Hey y'all.
Wasn't expecting to be on here tonight, but Bob never did show up. And if he does, we'll just go over there with him.
Hey Randy. Mike.
It's been kind of a warm day here today. I don't know how warm it got, but it was pretty warm. I've been running the air conditioner in this little honey house. But it's done got back down to 63, so we ain't doing too bad.
You got me by 20. I'm 43 right now. That's what I'm showing
Yeah. And I have the link pinned. If anybody wants to come in. Philip, I think Philip, he wanted me to kind of do some talking for him tonight. I don't have much information. Can't remember much of what he said, but we'll talk about that a little bit later when more people get in here. And
Hey Russell.
somewhere he had to be. I can't remember where it was at. Hey, Russell. Jack and Danae. How's your day been, Miss JW?
Well, I've had visitor all day. Mr. Tom Sossman came out here from St. Louis. He picked up some pro nukes for him and 2 or 3 other folks. I'd got them for him and spent the day with him. And we visited all day. Had a real nice day. And actually, he finished off his little visit. He helped me. He's got one of those new, the smaller Instabaps, so to speak. And you got the little one. I've got the big one. He wanted me to try it, and so we went through 34 hives in about, I don't know. And we was visiting and talking back and forth. We wasn't rushing at all. In less than an hour, I'm going to stay with it. We did all 34 of mine, and his low battery kicked on right on finished up the very last hive. So it went through 34 hives, 4 grams of OAV we put on each hive, 34 of them in less than an hour, and we did that all in one 8 amp hour battery. And like I said, we talking back and forth, and we wasn't rushing to get through them that quickly, but it was in less than an hour. It was a little bit faster than the bigger ones. They recover once you get them head up. They recover quite a bit faster than my big one does.
That's good to know. Let's see who else come in. Let's see. Peter Morris. Hey. I saw somebody else. Richard. I saw Richard come in.
Jack and Danae's in there too.
Mm-hmm. Hope I didn't miss nobody. I start calling names and pass somebody.
Tom Grainer up there, however he pronounces his last name up there in Cincinnati's on here too. Mac Apiary.
Yeah.
Oh,
Melanie had a question. Joey, did you have water in the bottom of the bucket you were dipping foundation in? Yes, it was mostly water. There was enough water in it to go at least half of the length of that foundation and about 2 inches of wax on the top. 2 to 3. Hey, Icy Mountain.
is that the way you do all your foundation, Joey?
It has for the last 5 years or so, or maybe 6. I was doing it before I retired. Yeah, I've been retired 5 years. But yeah, I saw who was it? Somebody was doing that, and they had a whole bucket of wax doing it, and had that bucket submerged in hot water.
Mm-hmm.
In one of the comments, I can't remember who it was. A guy said he does the same thing, but he don't use a bucket, and he just melts wax and about 3 or 4 inches on top. I said, I'm gonna have to try that, and I did it, and it worked great. And he probably won't tell it, but that's where Jeff Hotchoff got his idea to doing it in that big cooking vat he's got.
Yeah.
He was always painting it or rolling it on. He had videos doing that, and I told him about it, and it just kind of like went over his head. He did, and then it wasn't just a few months after I'd done that little video that little piece come out of back in 2019. That was during COVID when I was doing that, and it wasn't long after that he decided to use that big cook pot he's got.
Hey, Matt, I got you fondant. I'm going to try it just right off.
Hey, Tom.
Hey, Tom.
Hey, Jerry, JW.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. Been busy.
Hey, Matt.
How do you pronounce your last name, Tom? Is it Grainer?
It's Wainer, like an A. Wainer.
Okay.
Yeah. And if I do the German, it's Vainer.
Yeah.
It's V for a W, German.
Yeah, I knew that. I mean, that's the way they do them.
But it's Wainer, yeah.
None of those German ladies that's true Germans can hardly pronounce a W. They always say Vainer.
Yeah. So I've been bottling a bunch of 8-ounce bottles for Christmas time.
Yeah, people.
8-ounce bottles.
Yeah.
I wish I'd have done that because my granddaughter's already requested 8 or 9 bottles out of this thing here. She usually takes 8 or 10 every year and gives to her teachers.
I got a Christmas party tomorrow, and I need about 9 bottles there. I'm going to my brother's on the 21st, and I need about 18, 19 bottles there. And then I need about 20 bottles for the No Life swap at the pizza place. So,
Randy.
getting all those bottles ready.
I'll probably just bring the 1-pounders and be done with it.
Yeah.
Anything smaller than that 1-pounder, I don't think my label will fit it.
That's my issues. So some of them won't have labels. I had to cut some labels to make them fit. I don't sell 8-ounces. I used to a few years ago, but all my wholesalers that sell my honey didn't want to mess with the 8-ounces.
Yeah.
I just do a pound and 3 pounds in a couple places.
I think I'm going to get me a label made. If I'm going to start messing with this creamed honey, I'm going to get me a label made to go on these lids.
Oh, yeah.
I just stuck this one on there just to see how much too big it was.
Right. I got some round labels I got just for my cream, special
Yeah.
labels.
I put round labels. I just put them on the lids. I sell quite a few just quart jars and pint jars, full of raw honey, and I just got round labels I put on the lids of them. They just fit perfect right inside the rings.
Hey, DC,
Yeah, let me see if I got a creamer label.
if anybody happens to notice that Bob comes in on his live, we'll just shut this one down and go over there and support him. That's all right with y'all. I'm just filling in for him anyway. James.
Well, you're talking about the warm weather. Well, today it got up to 48, but tomorrow it's only supposed to be 30 for the high.
Supposed to go down here to quite a bit too, Tom.
Yeah, so it's coming, Joey, a little bit.
I don't even know what
43 here right now. It got up to in mid to high 50s here today, and got in the 60s yesterday.
Yeah, we were 60, almost 60 yesterday, 58, 59. Today's 48 or 49, and tomorrow's like 30, and the next day's like 29 or 30.
Yeah.
Then it's supposed to warm back up again.
You're on a pretty much straight line east of me. You're a little bit north, probably maybe 20 or 30 miles north from my east-west bearing here where I'm at.
Yeah, tomorrow night sometime, I guess between nightfall and Thursday morning, it's supposed to get 49. Then Thursday 39, and then Friday 31. So
yeah, you're just a day or two after us.
but it won't stay there. It's gonna go right back up in the 50s for long again. If it'd stay there, maybe it'd kill some of these insects.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we've already had enough cold days to knock small hive beetle down and most of the other stuff down. Hey, Keith. Hey, Lee.
82 down there where Lee is.
Yeah, he's probably warm. Oh, Melissa's here. Hey,
I'm here.
Melissa.
Hello.
Hello, how's everybody?
Tom make it home yet?
I don't know, JW. He's MIA. What'd you do with him?
Yeah, I wonder why.
Oh yeah, I knew he was gonna disappear.
He doesn't want to show his black eye.
Yeah.
He's awful close, Shirley, but now if he's hadn't had any trouble, if he hadn't stopped and he got to talking someplace.
Yeah. No, let's see. He's like 10 minutes away.
Well, when he shows up, just call me Mac so we don't get confused.
Well, he went out to visit JW today.
Yeah, we had a good time. I enjoyed him. He liked to talk me to death. My tongue's about wore out.
I was going to say it was nice and quiet at my house today. So what I missed?
Oh, nothing. We just been talking about the weather and treating bees.
There's Mr. Doug on there. He says it's only 18°C up there.
Doug sounds like it's cold where he's at. Daughter's ice skating on the street.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, thank you.
Bless his heart. I'm glad for him if he likes it. All I can tell him.
So, JW, did you show Tom how to be a farmer with all his livestock?
Well, I don't know. I don't know if he's teachable or not. He might be beyond, he might be on the teachable stages. I don't know.
Yeah, I understand.
Minus 18°C.
Yes.
I
don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, but that'd be comparable to what? 10 below, 8 or 10 below?
Leah'll show you in a minute.
You have to calculate it.
I don't have
Michael.
one of those conversion
That's probably
deals.
Bill. Darren.
that's -4.
Yeah,
Minus
that's what I
4.
got. Yep.
I still ain't never been that cold.
Oh, I have.
Coldest
My
I've ever
coldest,
felt was 10 degrees natural
coldest,
weather.
coldest I've ever been was -39. I don't even know what that is in C.
Yeah. I've seen probably -10 Fahrenheit in them freezers we used to have to work in sometimes. That's a different kind of cold, I guess. A lot drier in them things.
No, that wind makes a big difference. I spent one winter, or part of a winter up in Bismarck, North Dakota, and it got 47 below one weekend, they claimed. And I'm going to
Yeah,
tell
it's
you something. That is cold. COLD with a double D. Cold.
the coldest Cincinnati's ever gotten, at least my lifetime, is -25.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if you remember the Bengals had the Freezer Bowl where it was -20 and
Mm.
they played. The stadium was full
Mm-mm.
back in I think that was early 80s or something. I want to say 81. That might be wrong. 82 maybe.
Yeah, it's so that when like Lee put on there, it actually says -0.4 degrees. I don't know what -0.4 is, but that's what when I calculated it too, that's what it came out to.
Yeah.
I guess, Matt, if you're listening, that Fondant of yours looks a lot like that Hive Alive Fondant. I don't know. As far as texture, it looks like it's about the same as the Hive Alive. I don't. Have you tried any of the Hive Alive? If it's, is it about the same texture?
Hard to believe.
It's, I can give you some pond moss to mix into it if you want to try it to make the make up for that seaweed that Hive Alive got into it. I can give you some pond moss to mix in it.
Didn't get any post from Bob yet.
Was he supposed to go live tonight? Did anybody hear from him?
No.
Hadn't heard from him. Just got an order for 24 bottles.
That's good.
I'm going to surprise them when I deliver it. I'm going to tell them it's going to be $1 more after the first per pound.
Yeah, I'm thinking about raising mine up a little bit, 50 cents maybe. I raised them up this year.
Yeah, Tom and I were talking about that the other day. I don't know that we're going to raise any of our honey prices, but I'll probably adjust some of my candles and stuff like that. I think they're priced a little bit low. They need a little bit of adjusting. So.
Thank you for the comb. I got it.
Oh, did you? It made it. It made it to you.
Even had a lady stop while Tom was there. She wanted to. She didn't buy any, but she sure wanted to look at it. She said she's moved up here from Oklahoma. She said she chewed on it when she was a kid. Wanted to try some. Said she'd be back. I don't know if she might not have anybody with her. I don't know if she bought a quart of honey off of me. So.
Yeah.
And she mentioned I said, well, I don't have any. Mine's all gone, but I've got a little inside that a really, really good friend of mine let me have.
I don't know if I've ever got 50-pound bags from Sam's. I'll have to check on that.
I haven't seen
Yeah, I
any.
thought they were 25-pound bags.
Yeah,
They
the ones they have where I go.
That's the biggest ones I ever seen. Well, that's at Sam's. That's not Walmart now. Sam might have 50s. I don't go there anymore.
Yeah, I'm looking it up right now.
Sam's 25s are more expensive by a little bit than Walmart's.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, on the website, they're only showing the 25-pound bag at 4 cents an ounce.
Ricky.
Okay, that's good, Matt. I'm reading your chat here right now.
So that would be 64 cents a pound. So it's the same. I mean, it's the same thing. It's just 20.
Yeah.
It's 50-pound bags, or not 50-pound bags, 25-pound bags. I have to go check the stove. I'll be right back.
Be
There's Nancy.
around 80 cents, isn't it? In the Walmart stuff. I haven't bought it at Walmart for a while.
That's close. That's pretty close. I can't remember prices like that. I can't remember numbers like that hardly. That's almost like looking at your watch. You really, when you look at your watch, you really don't know what time it said.
Yeah.
You don't believe it. Watch somebody when they look at it. As soon as they put their arm down, ask them what time it is. They'll have to look again.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's just a habit.
Got 66 people in here.
Wow. A lot of bored people in town.
Hey.
Mm.
Good night,
He's
Lee.
going to bed. He said he only got 45 minutes of sleep last night. So.
Oh, man. I remember that pain.
Yeah. Night, Lee.
Yeah, get some rest.
This he's working a lot of hours.
Yep. Nancy said she treated hers today too. I heard them talking last night about trying it. I got through all of mine I'm done until after the first of the year. I mean, I'm fed up and treated up and tested up, and I'm done. I'm not even going to look towards any of my bee yards till after Nobby.
I will after Nobby one more time, and that's it. Till February for a month.
Yeah, that's probably when we'll put all that fondant and sugar boards or whatever we're gonna do.
Okay.
I'm gonna do mine the first decent day after Nobby, whenever that is.
Mark said
And
he
that's
meant
basically
25.
45 degrees and warmer. I learned that you can get into bees when it's cold. Because last year I lost those 3 hives, never got above freezing 3 days, and all 3 of them were great hives. So cracking them open, even pulling frames out, it doesn't hurt them one bit, as long as they got the stores.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not like you're gonna chill brood this time of year.
No, don't have to worry about that. And I would say one hive, I probably only lost 5% of the bees. The other hive, probably about 10, 15%. And the third hive was the worst. I probably lost about half of them, from the cold.
So
And,
Larimore has a question. Says fondant versus bricks.
I missed it.
Yeah.
Probably the main difference is that fondant is an inverted sugar, so it's going to be easier for the bees to digest, whereas sugar bricks is just sugar. And so they're going to have to get some moisture from the hive or whatever to help them metabolize that and break it down.
Sugar bricks are easier to make than fondant since you don't have to heat it.
Definitely.
I still don't see Larry. Oh, I see it. I just saw it right there.
Yeah.
If I want to invert my sugar bricks, I just turn them upside down. That inverts them.
There you go. That's a
There you
great
go.
idea, JW.
Inverted
You know,
sugar.
so Tom and I kind of went back and forth a little bit because last year he got an insane deal on that Hive Alive fondant from the local bee shop. So we used that last year. We didn't put very many candy boards, sugar boards, whatever you're gonna call them on. So this year he's like, I want to do that again. I'm like, do you know do you realize how expensive that's gonna be to put that? Because a lot of our hives, they went through at least 2 of those patties, you know. Like we have 150 hives this year, at least, to get through winter. Like,
Yeah.
do you know how much that's going to cost, Patty? He's like, oh yeah. Like the more he thought about it, he's like, yeah. He just
Yeah.
did not want to make those candy boards. I'm like, just get it, just do it, get it over
I
with.
would think if
Nick's
you're
got a
working
good
full,
question right there.
Where's that?
What only a few times I've done it, I have actually I made some of those little 4-inch pipes about
Mm-hmm.
12, 16 inches long.
Yeah.
And no glue. Put a cap on one end and a gutter drain adapter
Yep.
on the other end, and just screw 2 little eye screws, eye rings, ring screws, whatever you want to call it, and a piece of wire, and just hang them up.
So
Yeah,
we've
that's
done,
what I do.
It
yeah,
does a
we've done
good
that.
job.
I've seen people do an actual hive box on a bottom board with a lid and just put it
Yeah,
in there and let them go in and out of it. That keeps it dry.
that works good
Actually,
too.
we don't feed. The only time we feed dry pollen sub is in the early spring before anything's blooming, and our bees that we keep at our house are getting on our neighbors' bird feeders and kind of being a nuisance. I'll just put a tray of it out on our back deck, and they just come get it for, you know.
I always see too much pollen going in around here to fool
Yeah.
with it, you know. And
Yeah, the only time
now
I
they
really
may not be much coming in right now, but there's
Yeah.
no nectar coming in either, you know. So
right.
I
Yeah,
have
the only
actually had to
times I
pull
put it out would
frames
be like
out.
days where you get like
Pollen
a
banger.
warm day in the middle of the winter and they're irritating our neighbors, or early spring and they're irritating the neighbors.
Yeah,
That's the only time we feed dry pollen sub.
I use it as a tester to see what bees are doing.
that's a
I'll put
good
it out
idea.
early and
Yeah.
before they start flying, and I'll see when they quit, foraging in the fall.
I leave the tube out all year round, basically, and I just refill it up in the spring and refill it up in the fall.
That's a good idea, Hallelujah Bee Farm.
And if they use it, if they need it, they'll hit it. But I
Yeah.
only think there's only about 2 months out of the year where they hit that pollen. And that's early spring and fall around my area.
That's good,
So
Matt.
DC mentioned something about the mountain camp method. I don't see anything wrong with it. I
Yeah.
think that when you do that, though, I feel like they waste more of it because it falls between the frames, and so more of it gets wasted, fall into the bottom of the box, or maybe out of the box. I don't know. We've never really done it. We've always made sugar boards, candy boards.
I've
done
never heard
mountain
anybody
camp.
making sugar with it.
No.
And some bees don't mind it, and some bees just want to take it out of the hive.
Yeah, they just carry it all out. I've had them do that
Yeah.
too. Almost have the ground out in front of the hives white with the sugar.
Oh, you put
Yeah.
it on. He puts it on top of burlap, not just paper towels. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
A lot of folks just put it on newspaper.
Mhm.
I don't.
I did the mountain camp a couple of years, and then I switched to bricks just so they wouldn't throw it out the hive or fall through the paper.
Well, I'll tell you what,
Right.
I like doing those candy bricks too, because so we use Kentucky Kent Williams method.
There you
And
go.
it's sugar, apple cider vinegar, some honeybee healthy, and citric acid. And I think that's it off the top of my head. mix it all together and let it set in the garage. We put it into the shims or your tray, whatever you're using, for like a day, and it solidifies, gets real hard as a rock basically, and put it in the hives. And if they don't eat it, we just store it for the next year. We've stored those all summer long in our garage in that shipping container that we keep a lot of our stuff in, and we never have issues with ants getting on them or anything like that. Now, if they're ones that they've kind of like half eaten, we'll break those up and just throw them in the sugar syrup that he usually makes early spring before the nectar starts flowing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something to think about.
Well, I'll be putting Fondant, Hive Alive Fondant on mine after Nabi. That's my plan. About 30 of them. I got 31 hives, so one hive won't get it.
How we doing?
Pete here from Colorado. Can you
How's
hear
it
me?
going?
We
Yep.
can hear you.
Well,
Pretty good, Pete.
Brian Savada says I should come in here to put my face out there. That's how you get recognition. Not that this face is worth getting recognition.
Right.
But yeah.
Well, welcome
I
in.
thought
Welcome in here with all of us pretty guys. You'll be a lot prettier now. You get on here with us good looking guys.
Well, I know I'm not as good looking as you, JW, but I'll try. I'll try. But I thought I'd just introduce myself. I'll probably see you guys at Nobby.
Sure.
Don't really want to stay long to interrupt conversation. Don't have a whole lot to say. I'm just a backyard beekeeper.
Well,
Now I got a name, a face with a name. That's perfect, Pete.
Yeah, that's what I want to do. Just put a face with a name. I'll see you guys. I mean, I throw a comment in every once in a while, and I figure, well, maybe Brian's on to something.
Peter, are you coming to the No Life dinner?
No, I wanted to come to that, Melissa, but we're driving, and I don't think we're going to get there in time for it. I just don't think we're going to make it in time. I thought about putting my name in, and then it wouldn't have been fair if we didn't come, and then we didn't show up. We took two places. Me and my wife Cornelia were both coming out.
Well, if you guys get there early enough, there's a whole restaurant, so there's tables available in the restaurant, and we're not just going to close the doors and say no, you cannot enter. Just in that particular room, there's only so many seats to actually eat. But people are more than welcome to come in and out, throughout the night.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought we'd do is if we got there early enough and we'd show up, and that way my face is out there. You know who I am. Fellow Coloradoan with Brian and Westcliff, and But
we'll kind of hold that against you now.
Oh well, now wait a minute, JW. Colorado's a nice place if it wasn't for all them hippies that moved in from California.
No, I'm talking about Brian in particular. I'm not going to hold that against you.
Oh, Brian's a good guy. He come down to our bee club meeting one night, and he was did a demonstration at UBO. Excellent presentation. Of course, he's a school teacher, so he knows how to put on a presentation. And he had that whole club just captivated by his conversation. But it'd be good to talk to him again. That's the only time I met him. But yeah.
Where in Colorado are you?
I'm just south of the Denver metro area. South of Denver, east of Castle Rock, a little town called Franktown, Colorado. It's not much of a town, more like a crossroads. Just kind of a hick in the sticks here.
Now, Peter, were you at the Colorado State Conference in June?
No, I didn't go. I should have. I could have talked to Brian then.
Because Tom and I were up there for that one.
Yeah. You went to it. Oh,
well, we spoke at that one.
Oh, at Berthoud? Yeah. Yeah, that would have been a nice one to go to. I wanted to, Randy Oliver was there, but yet I just watched his presentation on YouTube from the New York Bee Wellness, and I think it's the same presentation I just watched on YouTube. So go up there, spend a night, and then come back. I don't know. I should have gone. I should have gone in the end. Hindsight is always better than
So
foresight.
Randy Oliver was at the one that they just had, right?
Oh yeah. Okay. Okay. You was at the summer one over there
Yes,
on the western slope.
correct. Yeah, yeah,
I was talking about the winter one up there in
right.
Bertha there, just north of Denver. Yeah.
Yeah,
And so
because
how'd you like?
Brian was doing demonstrations with the UBO at the one that because they did the outdoor classroom afterwards, and he
Yeah.
was doing UBO demonstrations at that. That's why I
Have
was
you
asking.
have you and Tom tried that UBO, Melissa? Or are you trying to get a VHS type queen line going?
Yeah, well, kind of. So we bought several tests and we had intended to use them, but you have to use them during a really heavy nectar flow. And during
Yeah.
that time, we were so insanely busy,
Oh yeah.
we never got a chance to
Right.
do
Yes.
one test.
Springtime
So,
is the worst time to start something
yeah,
new. I was going to do this and I was going to do that this year, and you get so busy. And I got overwhelmed. I mean, you get these students, and you're trying to help them out, and then trying to keep your
right.
own apiary going. And mind you, I don't have as many colonies as you and Tom. I just got a few in my backyard here, and I got another apiary closer to town where a student lives. But it keeps me busy. I'm not a spring chicken anymore. Um, I'm not as young as JW, but I sure do try. You know,
Yeah.
and that's what gets me now is just my age. In fact, we mentioned about that hive lifter. I built that hive lifter because of my age. It's just got sort of lifting them heavy boxes. That
Mm-hmm.
was. Did you ever look at that video from that one guy on YouTube that I mentioned that one night? He's a small YouTube contributor. He's up in Fort
Mm,
Collins, Colorado, with Papa Honey's apiary or something like that.
Yeah,
Hmm.
I've seen
Yeah,
it.
he only has a few YouTube videos. Well, I built that hive lifter off that guy's design. I mean, I'm a great copycat when it comes to YouTube. If it comes up on YouTube, I could build that. So I'll build it, and that has been a game changer for me because I just can't lift like I used to. I just can't lift it, and it's especially setting skateboards and pulling honey and just setting in them oxalic acid extended release pads. It just made it a game changer. But yeah, I thought I'd tell my little blurb and get my face out there.
Darren,
You know,
I'm gonna put Darren's name in down there with Hannah down there with put him on their prayer list down there. I believe he's gone blind.
Oh,
Darren out there in Pennsylvania, I think he's gone blind. He needs to be put on Hannah's prayer list.
poor Darren. You know, I know all you guys. I'm sorry.
I'm not a big fan of that UBO yet because
Yeah.
it doesn't do it. The test only shows that they investigated. Well, did they pull any mites out? Did they pull any larvae out? I want to see a test where they actually pull the larvae out and discard it with the mites on it, or
And
they
that's
kill the mites.
like I asked Brian that one night. Well, where you at on that UBO? And it just kind of like in standstill. He got too busy, and because you have to go back, and it's a process. And unless you're
Oh yeah,
committed, like if you're committed, like Corey Stevens, if you're committed to that process, it'll work great. But man, if you're just a small backyard beekeeper, that's way over my skill set.
Right.
well, if you work or you're working full time, you still got 30 or 40 hives to take care of. There's no
Well,
time for that stuff.
why are you? The question is, Tom, is why are you still working full time? You should have retired by now.
I will be by Good Friday next year,
I've been
guaranteed.
I've been retired for 18 years now. My motto was retire at 55 while I was still alive from the railroad. I was a railroader.
Yeah,
Oh man, that was the best thing I ever did in my life. Yeah, but now I work harder than I did when I was working between the bees, and I got a huge garden, and I'm a woodworker. I do all this woodworking because of the bees in my shop in the summer. I mean, in the wintertime, I stay busy all year round, all year round.
that keeps you young.
Yeah, well, tries. I don't try.
Don't let,
I don't feel young when I get up. I'm all stiff and
yeah,
sore.
yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
I was going to retire at the end of the year, which this would be my last week, but my wife wanted me to work a little bit longer.
Oh,
She just don't want you in the house. Don't let them tell you that crap.
I think JW is on to
She just
something.
don't want you around.
Well, I got my barn to live in.
You'll be in the way. I know, I like retirement so well. I'm on my fourth one.
It's right behind me, my barn. Like, that's my big dog house.
If you got your bees in your barn, you're good to go.
There you go. I am thinking about putting an observation hive in the barn. So
Yeah.
when I have people over, I can show them the bees.
Just cut a hole in the wall and put your piece of plexiglass in it. They'll be all right.
My student, she wants, or one of my students, she wants an observation hive, and I see where Hilco's got that observation hive. Hilco or Man Lake. Oh, hi, Tom. Pete Morris here.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Yeah, good.
Hey, how's that fellow in the upper right-hand corner?
Ah,
Been a while since I've seen him.
How's that black eye?
How's your black eye?
I don't have any black eyes.
makeup covers everything.
Did you get everything home in one piece?
I sure did. That thing rode like a charm.
Good deal.
It didn't move an inch.
All your tarps stay hitched up and didn't
Yep.
go to flopping or nothing, huh?
Everything is just as we left it.
Did you swing by Charlie's real quick by chance? Probably not.
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
I kind of looked for a little bit, but I wasn't sure which exit it was or which stop it was there. There was a couple of buildings.
No big deal.
Yeah. All right.
Well, good. I'm glad you made it okay. I was starting to worry about you. I didn't tell anything. I didn't say anything to Melissa. Are you just now getting in?
Yeah, but I stopped and got some fuel, and I stopped and got a quick little bite to eat. Grabbed a.
I figured you'd have to eat 2 or 3 times going that 4.
Well, actually, it was 5. I ate 5 times. And then I had to go up
feed
there.
him near as good as she fed me out there, Melissa.
Oh no.
That's okay. You can make it up.
I took him one of them cheapy joints.
Oh no.
It was actually a little diner. Melissa would have liked
I
that
would have
place
loved
though.
it. I like little
mom and
diners.
pop diner.
Those are my favorite.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go out and put another tarp on that. It might rain, so I want to keep all the water off of it so I can store it dry. I'll be back in a few.
They talking about using, or they were talking about using mediums. Somebody else talking about using 8s. I almost several years ago went to all mediums. That was before I sold nukes. And just about the time I decided to use all mediums, I decided I was going to sell nukes because people wanted to start buying some. And that kind of shot that out of the water, so I went to all deeps.
I do split. I do both. My brood box are deeps and my honey are mediums.
I still got some mediums, but when they go bad, I'm not going to replace them. I'm using them till they're gone. And
I'm not young either. They get heavy.
I'm staying with 10s, and when I get where I want to slow back down and just have a few, I'm going with 30 framers. Long hives.
There you go.
Again.
I got a 32 framer and 2 100 framers.
Yeah.
There's a monster hives, horizontals.
You sure got those 100 split up some, haven't you, Tom? They're not all one big.
One of them has 3 hives in it, each with 33 or 34 frames.
Yeah.
And the other one, I have 12 8-framers in it, 4 on top of 4. So, yeah, I'm thinking.
I got a
about
text
making
from Philip earlier today. He said the total's up to $880 on the
Wow.
giveaway.
Wow.
That's
So
pretty
let's see.
good.
So that's
That's pretty good.
176 tickets.
That's a pretty good cause. I mean, I was 20 years Air Force Reserves, and there's a lot of vets. I mean, mind you, I was Air Force. I never got shot at. I was a aircraft mechanic, but there's a lot of vets that really helps. This mentor of mine, he does that program. He mentors these vets in that vet program, and he says a lot of it really helps them work through some serious issues. But,
Yeah.
so it's a good program.
It is. And if nobody has seen it yet today, we added another item on the onto the raffle. Mr. Phil Kent with 33 Mile Bees is donating a $100 gift card to Hilco.
I got it right here.
Oh, you got it?
Let's see if it works.
All right.
Let's see. So make it a
Right
little
there in the
bit
middle.
Yep.
Oh, that's too
Bottom
big.
middle. He'll go.
There we go. Yep. He messaged me this morning and said that he wanted to get on the list to donate, and he wanted to donate a $100 gift card to Hilco. So
Wow.
you've only got a few more days to get your tickets.
I'm wondering if there's anybody in the chat don't know what we're talking about right now. There don't. We're having a drawing Saturday.
Here, bring that picture back up, and I can. You want me to
Okay.
talk about each of the things on there?
Okay, yeah.
So why don't
Can
you
you
start
read-
it,
can you
Joey,
see that?
about what it is?
Right there.
Yeah, that's good. So Philip Morris, he's not on the chat tonight. I think he had a Christmas party or something to go to tonight. But I guess he raffled off a gift basket last year to raise money to benefit Hives for Heroes, and he wanted to do that again this year. And after he mentioned it, a lot of people decided they wanted to donate little gift sets or items to the cause too. The tickets are $5. All of the proceeds are going to Hives for Heroes. You can get every $5 that you spend gets you a ticket. There's 4 different ways to get your ticket through the Venmo, Zelle, Cash App, or PayPal. When you purchase your tickets, though, make sure you note that it's for Hives for Heroes. The drawing's actually going to take place on Saturday on Joey's Live at 7 p.m. Central. And so we have, I think, 10 items now. Tom and I are donating a gift basket that has our 3 different spring honeys, our bourbon barrel honey, 2 lip balms, 4 honey straws, a candle, and some of our creamed honey. Matt at Sandy Valley is donating 50 pounds of his homemade fondant and 2 honey bears. And
That's to be picked up at
have to
Nobby.
be picked up at Nobby, yes. Then we have James Knoll. Hold on one second. Somebody's running a hairdryer.
We can't hear it.
So sorry, I had to mute for a second. Somebody was running a hairdryer. It was really loud. So next we have a collection of liquid and creamed honey from James Knoll, J&D Honey. Then Mr. Joey Rawls himself is donating an inner cover for either 8 or 10 frame, whichever you prefer. Then Philip has his gift basket that has 3 different honeys, 2 lip balms, 3 beeswax candles, 2 dippers, and 3 pair of earrings. Then Mr. Brian Zavada at Flower Street Farms has donated 5 different jars of his creamed honey. Carl with 2 bee brats has donated a bottle of his, he said it was fall honey, a candle, and his peanut butter creamed honey. Westcliff John Mitchell has donated a No Life Beekeepers tumbler and hat. Sarah Gillespie with Sarah's Happy Hives is donating her Gold Fleck honey. Of course, we have here 33 Mile Bees. Phil Kent is donating the amazing $100 gift card to Hilco. And then Mr. Mark Miller is donating 2 mated queens, which will be delivered in May. So we got some really good prizes there to win, and for $5, and it goes to a great cause.
Matt, rest assured he's blowing, but it's not his hair.
It was actually my son. He was him and his girlfriend were having a water fight, and I guess he was drying his hair back off from her dousing him. So
I guess he lost the fight.
yeah, a little bit.
I'm going to see if I can show that video again, if I can find it. Can y'all see that?
No, it's not showing
Not
yet.
yet. All right. I got to get back over to my other screen.
You want me to add it to the stage for you?
I was on the YouTube side over here. Let's see.
There you go.
I hope it plays. There we go. They don't look like a lot of bees, but they were flying that day. And when I tried to pick that box up, I like to broke my back. That top box is full of honey.
That's good.
Do they propolize on or start building comb on that plexiglass there, Joey?
That's not plexiglass. That is laminated glass.
Okay.
If they do start building on it, that means it's time for another box. That's one of the signs they use. The people that actually sell this, Bee Gold Honey, you can go look at them. The interview cover, beegoldhoney.com. But they got these on all their hives, and they don't. Larry and Sarah, they don't always get to work together, and they have a couple thousand hives. But if they go in the bee yard, they'll write what they looked at or saw and the date on that glass. And when the next one comes in and checks, if they see that, they can just close it up and go on, And that way, if they forget to tell each other they went to this yard or that yard or got half of them. But that's laminated glass. And what I wanted to say about it, I'm going to say it again Saturday. This is one of mine, but you can get that finished or unfinished. That's cypress wood, and he clear coats them. But you can get it either way, finished, unfinished, and you can get the 8 or the 10. And if you go in the knobby, I can bring it to you, whoever wins. If you want it shipped to you, he'll ship it to you if you're not going to knobby. But if you want one that's unfinished, as far as the 10 frame goes, it'll be about the middle or end of January, because the glass companies are not delivering right now for whatever reason. So when he gets another order in, he'll be making them again. If you look on their website, it says out of stock, and that's the reason why. Now, he used to build the plexiglass ones or Lexan ones, and he said they do fine, but he noticed a lot more moisture building up on the Lexan ones versus the glass ones. So that glass makes them a little bit heavier than the Lexan.
Hey, Joey, I got a question on this here StreamYard. I notice when I'm on StreamYard, it's live time, but when I jump back over to YouTube, it's delayed. Is that normal?
Yeah, it sometimes it'll actually stop until you go back over there,
Yeah.
and then it start trying to catch up again. It'll get way behind when you're actually on the chat.
But you can't see the chat on the right on the StreamYard.
Right.
Okay.
Does it say that you can join the chat down there at the bottom?
I don't
No.
see it.
Okay.
Have you got the screen says comments
Oh.
on it?
Oh yeah, here private chat.
Hit the
Yeah.
comments. Click on the comments.
Oh, there it goes. Okay, I see it now.
Mm-hmm. You got a smart donkey. He's telling you how to do that.
I figured old Tom would probably bring old Donk back up and put it in the raffle.
Hey, Paul, didn't even see you come in. How many baskets of creamed honey can one person win? This,
Well, you bought ticket. You can multiple. That's how
Yeah.
many tickets you have. If your name gets pulled
Yeah.
multiple times, you win multiple baskets.
that's the way I understood it.
Yep.
570 tickets, you might win half of them. Yeah.
Yeah. So that'll be Saturday on Joey's channel. That will do the drawing.
Yeah, I don't really need honey either, but
Give it to Matt first, since Matt needs more honey.
I got bottles sitting all over around here.
Yeah.
So that's when you save it and you give it to other people for gifts that they need.
Well, I don't think you're on earlier. Tomorrow I'm going to a Christmas party and I'm taking 9 bottles. And on Saturday I got another one. I'm taking 20 bottles. 21 bottles. And then at Nalby, I'm going to be bringing another 20 some bottles. So they're disappearing.
Hey, Jeff.
And my wife takes 3 or 4 all the time for gifts for her teacher friends.
Philip never said anything about having to be present to win. I will say there are, like, the fondant has to be picked up at Nobby. So I think what he was planning on doing is drawing for that first to make sure that person is going to be at Nobby to pick that up. And if not, then give whatever name he pulled or whatever, give him the next basket in the queue. So that would be the only basket that's a little, has to be picked up at Nobby type thing that we would kind of need some verification or validation or whatever for.
I'm going to win it anyway, so it won't make a difference.
You're going to win it?
That's fondant. That'll save me making a bunch more.
So we've got a whole cabinet full of honey that we've collected from other people, or have given us, or we bought from other states and whatnot. And we take that when we go to, like, teaching engagements or give talks or things like that. So, and just let people taste all the different honeys that we have.
Now I got my top shelf all the way across. I'll have to start me another shelf just for honeys that I got from people last January and some year before last at the other one.
Right. The year before.
Before listening to y'all talk about, receiving each other's honey and keeping it on the shelf as gifts, I'd get honey as a gift as a beekeeper, I think that's the dumbest thing you can give a beekeeper. You got so much honey anyways. Why would you need more honey? But
None of that up there. I let people taste it, but I'm not going to use it up.
yeah, it makes sense now. But before it just didn't make no sense. I mean, I'd get a gift as honey. Being a beekeeper, I said, "No, what do I need this for? I got so much honey, I can't eat it all."
Right.
Yeah.
Where'd JW go? I popped that up there for him.
You can tell Paul just to watch me about winning.
Oh,
He was going to get his Burger King hat back out.
That's right.
sound like he was eating it.
So what's the big draw of this fondant? Because I always put sugar bricks, and I figure it's pretty cheap to make these sugar bricks. I make them at home and I stick them in, late in the year. But this fondant, it's kind of pricey. What's the big draw for the fondant besides it's already being inverted? I mean, the bees can do that. They access their water. They're all out on nice days here and access water, and they inverting their sugar up on top. But I just never understood to pay that much money for something when you could make it out of sugar, unless you got it cheaper than sugar.
A lot of it's convenience, I think.
Yeah, you don't have to make the blocks. So I put these candy boards on these shims. And I used to fill up the candy board, make it all one solid block, and come spring when you take that thing off and half of it's eaten, half it's not. It's such a pain. Now I just make these blocks. I made a little wood form, and I make a block, and 2 blocks fill up both sides of the feeder, the shim. And that's so easy now, because what they don't take out, I could just take out of that shim and put it in a 5-gallon bucket and put it in next year.
Yeah.
But,
I think it's all time and money. If you got the
Mhm.
time, then you can make it. If you don't have the time, it's easier to buy it.
well, it's just like Matt was talking the other night about making that fondant. And the more he talked about that, I was thinking, wow, I make these sugar blocks in a fraction of the time. What's the draw? I just couldn't understand that one.
Did you guys send out everything you need to?
I don't have an answer for you because I don't ever use it.
Well, I suppose down where you're at, Joe, you probably don't need it.
$10 commission.
Yeah.
I've used both, and I haven't noticed any difference in the bees hitting it. They hit them both. I mean, they hit them both big time during the winter time.
I just use it as an insurance. I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of times they don't hardly consume very much of it, but I don't want to come out there in the springtime, find out I have a dead out because they ran out of sugar. Mind you, I've never ran into that situation yet, but I think I'm going into my 9th season now, and I've had pretty good luck. I don't have too many dead outs. Of course, I hit them mites pretty hard with OAB and OAE. I don't have a mite problem, and I feed them up heavy in the fall, and I put these candy boards on, and I don't lose bees in the wintertime.
Well, I put a sugar brick on early this year because we had a severe drought. So there was no fall flowers. They were all dead.
So when you did your fall feeding, Tom, did you have to feed them pretty heavy because of that drought then?
I tried as much as I could, but I also had that knee replacement, so I couldn't get out there as much as I wanted to.
So you ran out of time. You ran out of time then.
Yeah. So unfortunately, I had my knee and I couldn't get out there for a month and a half or a month.
Yeah.
And then I couldn't do it big time. So I made some bricks up and threw them in to help them out. And now I'm going to put some fondant in that I did buy. And I got pretty good price. I'm picking up at Nobby.
Yeah. And Melissa, I do want to thank you. I want to thank you. But that night you told me to pre-order. It's better than doing the Black Friday. So I went in there and did all that pre-ordering and they have some pretty good deals. Good deals. My whole idea going to Nobby was I was going to buy me a new extractor. Well, come July, John Hyoko, he put these here Max 12s on sale. And he had a really good sale there in July on them things when they first came out. So I bought one of them Max 12s. Now, mind you, I'm just a backyard beekeeper. So this thing's that cats me out for me compared to, I used to have a Max N 6 frame. And what an upgrade. What a nice machine this thing is.
It's amazing when you can eliminate your bottleneck, how
Yeah,
much easier your
yeah,
life becomes.
yeah. Now the bottleneck is just uncapping, uncapping.
Okay.
Uncapping
And
mine.
it
Sometimes
just
when you get rid of one bottleneck, you create
Yep,
another one.
yep. That's
Yeah.
exactly it, Joey. That's exactly it. Because I changed my bottleneck from my extractor to my uncapping.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm the biggest bottleneck.
Yeah.
You're the bottleneck.
Well, you know about beekeeping, I'm not a big fan of the honey end of it. I know Brian and all you guys are all into the markets. I'm not there yet. I'm
You
too
sound like
old.
Tom.
Ah,
Tom
I
hates
hate.
honey
I,
extraction.
like I said before, I don't see myself as that guy at the farmers markets peddling honey from a card table. Yeah, I just don't see it. I don't see it in the cards. But you know, I sell a lot of honey through my my nephews and stuff like that. They take it and sell it to teachers at school and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm just not a big honey peddler. And when it comes to extraction time, that is the hardest thing about beekeeping for me. Is that honey? It's labor intense, takes a long
Mm-hmm.
time. It's
Hey,
just a lot
Jeff,
of work. A
Hey,
lot of
Matt.
work.
Matt,
Yeah,
Oh,
it
Matt.
takes us like from start to finish. It takes us about a week to do
Yeah.
our honey harvest because it usually takes 2 days to pull all the super. Well, let's pause. We do it in our garage. So the first day, we're just cleaning the garage, sanitizing everything in the garage, take everything out of the garage, sanitize it, and then cleaning all the equipment and bringing it into the garage. So getting everything set up. The next 2 days are pulling all of the supers and then kind of getting everything together. And then the next 2 or 3 days is extraction. And then you've got another day at least of cleanup. So
And
that's a good week
so
to,
I try to
do
pull
everything.
just enough boxes that I could extract that day, so where it's still hot in the cone. I'll pull the boxes early and then haul them in and extract and bottle all the same day. So while it's hot, because I don't have like a bottling tank, a heated bottling tank or something like that. I'm just a backyard beekeeper. I think I only pulled like 470 pounds of honey this year, but yeah, heated bottling tank is not in the cards for me.
I know John's got them. You win that $100 gift card from that Bill Kent donated. You can put it toward a Hilco bottling tank.
These other manufacturers got to be running a little nervous because of John Hilco. He has really upped the game on this equipment because he put out a quality product for a decent price, and everybody's got their attention. You
Is that
know,
right?
Oh yeah, doing a good job.
yeah, I love my Hilco extractor. That thing is just so smooth compared. I mean, I don't want to knock my Max in because it was a good machine for what I had it for, but I outgrew it. I outgrew it fast, and
Well, here's the thing. Before we had any of John's stuff, we had a Dedant extractor, and it worked great. We had no issues with it. But we needed a larger capacity, and John had come on the scene, and so yeah, it's the right price. Let's try this out. And John's stuff is quality stuff, and he stands behind everything. Any issue we've ever had, he is immediately on it, trying to make it right, and even going above and beyond what I think
yeah.
he need be. So we just keep going back to him, right?
I was surprised when I was about ready to pull honey in July, end of July, first part of August, and that sale came out, and I thought, well, so much for getting it at Nobby, and I called them up. I forget her name. That's that gal that answers the phone at Hilco. She's really nice. She's really
Jennifer.
nice. And yeah, and so I says, well, I'm going to be extracting here in about 3 days. Says, well, we'll ship one out to you, and I'll be darned if that thing wasn't here in 3 days out to
Mm-hmm.
Colorado and perfect shape in time for me to use it on my extraction. I just amazed by their customer service. Just amazing. Yeah.
And I don't think that people are getting that anywhere else right now.
Well, yeah, and yeah, with the Maxent, they jumped their price up so high, and it got to where you couldn't get it out. I mean, their backlogs. Mind you, the pandemic ruined everything.
Mm-hmm.
But boy, pandemic's over, guys. Let's up your game. you know.
Now I do have to say we don't have any of John's bottling tanks. I don't know if anybody on the chat does. All three of our do you? All three of our heated bottling tanks are Maxent ones, and I do like those a lot. Those are really nice.
Well, Maxent puts out a good product, but they're pricey. They're pricey. You know, I mean, it's good stuff, but it's pricey.
Yep.
You know.
You have their heated. You have John's heated bottling tank, Joey.
Yeah, I've got the 19 gallon.
And I do too.
How's that?
I got the same one.
I love it.
Yeah.
Look, he's back.
Joey did a
You
video
brought-
on it the other day, didn't you, Joey?
You brought trouble in.
I said you just did a video on it the other day, didn't you?
A couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, the heating element.
I tell you something about John. This is something he didn't have to do. There was someone here in Louisiana had a shipment coming from John, and they needed it. They even had talked to John to make sure he could get it to him in time, and he said yes. And that piece of equipment got damaged in shipping and couldn't be used. No fault of John's, but John knew the guy needed it. He drove one all the way to Louisiana for him.
That's
How many
customer
people?
service.
How many people do that?
Not many.
Nope.
Yeah. Less than a handful, probably.
How far of a drive is that for John to drive that far?
I don't know. That's a long way.
Yeah.
Utah down. I mean, that's a long way. That's a 2-day trip.
Because I know,
Or
like
all
Tom.
one day.
Yeah. Well,
Where's
Tom
he at?
told the story before that we was it the legs? We picked up the what is it, the 32 extractor that we picked up at the spring conference here in Missouri from Chris Summers. It was doing Hilco, and he forgot to pack the legs, but we didn't realize it because we didn't open it up until we were getting ready to do honey extraction. And Tom called John. He's like, man, the legs aren't in this box. Chris must have forgot to, I guess it's a separate box. He must have forgot to grab or whatever. He's like, and Tom told John, he's like, we're getting ready to extract in like 2 days. And John drove him down to us the very next day. And I mean, for John to drive to us, it's only a few hours, like 2 or 3 hours.
Still a few hours.
Yeah, but it's not like driving down to Louisiana like Joey was just saying. But if he can make it right, he's going to make it right as fast as he can.
Central Illinois, Nancy.
Yeah, so Russell
That's
says
part of
1,000
Illinois.
miles.
Minonk, Illinois.
Well, send him to Joey. Joey knows how.
Minonk. Minonk.
Oh, that's what that was.
Wow. All right, we got Matt down there.
Yeah, I just wanted to pop on. I heard some questions about the fondant or some of the different questions about anything like that. So I just popped on, just if there's anything that I could help answer about any of that about that recipe or how I'm applying it or what I've seen. I'm happy to answer.
Yeah, it was just pros and cons of fondant versus sugar bricks.
Yeah, that's.
How long is it taking you to cook that down? Like, how long is that process start to finish?
The total process. So as soon as I were to start it, and basically the water and vinegar are mixed together, and then I turn the heat on and start adding the sugar. It's about the fastest I've done it, and I'm doing 20-pound batches. So it's definitely taking a lot longer to get to a boil. But on my stove top, and it's a gas heat, so that it starts to boil at about 22 minutes, right about there. And that's constant stirring with no lid on it. So that way I'm controlling it. There's no scorching or caramelization going on. But that's, pretty steady boil, about 22 minutes. And it's getting right up to that 234, right at that softball temperature.
Then you gotta let it cool down.
No, I actually keep that constant softball temperature for 20 minutes.
I meant after 20 minutes.
Oh, after 20 minutes,
And
yeah, at that point, I take it off the heat immediately and then set it in an ice bath. Or it has been cold enough to where I was able to get away with making numerous batches throughout the day just by setting the pot outside to get it down to about 125 before I'd really start whipping it hard.
okay.
So you can take it off and cool it down to about 150 and start whipping it. But I've almost found that you get a little better air froth, if you will, into that mixture if you just wait until it's about, and I keep that candy thermometer in the actual stainless or the stainless steel pot while it's either in an ice bath or outside. So I'm able to see what that temperature is. And obviously as it cools, it's releasing the heat, the outside and on the bottom. So that's where it's going to get most the coolest, the quickest. So internal in the middle of it, to where it would be the warmest. So if you're
Right.
125 at the edge, you're good to go to take it and start whipping it.
Are you whipping it with like the drill bit mixer thing?
Yeah, so I'm a contractor by trade, so I have drills and batteries, and I call them whipping drills or whipping bits, but we use it for whipping mud, and the ones that I'm using are really made for drywall. So
Yeah.
making drywall batches, but yeah, so after it's cooled down to about 125 degrees, it'll take about 5 minutes of that drill, pretty much going full tilt. And the cooler you let that get, the harder you're going to work your drill. So that's why somewhere about the 125, 130, definitely underneath
Right.
is where you want to have that temperature before you start applying that air or
Right. 'Cause it'll
applying.
start getting hard on you.
Yeah. And
Right.
it really at about 100 degrees, it'll start getting to be a little bit more difficult to pour. But if you're keeping you're doing everything with intention. So with that at 125 degrees, you're whipping it, you get your consistency that you want, and you pour it out in the pans. And when it cools down, it's a really interesting texture. So you almost have to try it or be able to see some of it to see what I mean. But when it cools down in the pan itself, about an inch thick, depending on how thick you pour it. JW, you may have had some that were about 2 inches thick, and some of those pans were a little bit deeper. So those, when you cut your portions, I take a portion enough to fit in a Ziploc bag, and it comes out to be about 2 pounds. Will fit in a freezer quart Ziploc bag.
Bag. Okay.
So it's real similar to a 2.5 pound pre-made fondant patty. And
So you probably spend what, hour and 15 minutes per batch, time wise?
for a 20-pound batch, it'll yield 25 pounds. It'll take about an hour. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So
I do 25-pound batches for my sugar bricks.
yeah. So the mountain camp method is definitely easier. There's
It's
definitely
the easiest.
a lot of things in beekeeping that are easier to do than others, and it just comes down to
Right.
personal preference and what you see fit for your given situation and how you go about. So for me, it came down to I have really great success. The only times I did use Hive Alive, I noticed a boost in those bees. And that's what really drove me to want to not use the mountain camp method. My mentor actually advised that that's the way he feeds his bees, and he still does. He's highly successful. So it's definitely, there's definitely multiple ways to do it. And definitely, advantages to both.
The problem with that mountain camp is that bees will haul it out as trash. I never did, unless you spritzed it with water or something. But that's why I like making the sugar bricks and getting them hardened and placing them in the hive when they're dry.
So last year, I hadn't made any fondant until this year. I actually tried some different batches last year. It was miserable. I actually hated it. I tried to make candy boards because I found out how expensive they were to buy, and I thought, that's one of those our local sells those. So I figured, just like anything, you watch enough YouTube, you can do it, right? So
Sure.
I attempted those, and I wasn't even happy enough with them to put them on the hive. So I ended up just doing some sugar bricks themselves, and I would place the sugar bricks and then a Hive Alive packet in each hive in a feeder shim. And I just kind of watched through the winter how they fed on each one and what I felt were the advantages to each. So what I noticed was the fondant, as long as it didn't dry out too much, they really seemed to prefer that Hive Alive versus a sugar brick. Now, every time I pop the Reflectix and I do insulated tops, we have about an R15 that we just get out of 2 1-inch foam. So we do deliberate condensing hives, with heavy top insulation. No.
I do the same.
That's what I do. I made some insulating boxes. Last couple of years, I went to condensing hives.
Yeah.
I'm sold on that. That
Absolutely.
way, in the wintertime, they need water so bad.
Yeah.
They already have water in the hive. Just
Yep.
change
Right.
that dew point to the sides where it ain't going to get to them, and
Yeah.
they have all the water they need right there. Now, do you make shims then, Matt? Do you make
Yeah.
shims for?
Yep.
Okay.
I basically
Yeah.
rip 2x6s, so they're 1.5 inches tall.
Yeah.
Oh, and then I put a 1/2 inch. I do have a 3/8 spacer underneath the wire, but I have a 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch metal cloth.
Yeah. I always figured a good beekeeper's got to be a good woodworker. You got to have a shop, and if you as a contractor, you're already there.
Yeah. I'm a carpenter by trade, but we do a lot of work in kitchens and bathrooms. So
yeah, I did a lot of cabinet making over the years, so I
Okay.
make all my own boxes, all my own bottom boards, lids, everything.
yeah,
I make everything.
same here. So I had growing. So we came out of winter last winter with 4 hives, and we're taking 72 into winter this year. So I had to I figure out real quick how I was going to make that expansion, and how our boxes and foundation and frames and everything else. So
With that said, saying that I build my own boxes, if you see me at Nobby with one of Hilco's carts and I got some of their deep boxes on his cart, because I can't buy the wood cheaper than what they're selling that for.
oh yeah, yeah,
I couldn't believe them sales for Nobby.
yeah. That
Right.
so really the only thing I've built myself are the migratory tops and my bottom board. So I do screen bottom boards, and I built that. So
Man.
figured if I could save at least the top and bottom part, and then all I need is boxes. So
All right, guys. Hey guys, I'm gonna hop off. I got to take care of some honey bottles, and I get up early in the morning.
It was nice actually talking to you, Tom. That's why I come on here, throw my face out there and say hello.
All right,
We'll see
everybody
you
have a
later.
good night.
Night, Tom.
Good
See you,
night.
Tom.
Night, Tom.
Your fellow Colorado guy is
Is he on the chat now?
he's
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, I have a hard time with this. Oh yeah, there he is. Yeah. Hello from Colorado. Yeah. We've been having really wonderful weather out here lately. It's been in the 50s. It's been so warm. We're in a high bubble, and compared to there in November, I mean, one time I had 22 inches of snow in November. It's just like night and day. It's like we're in springtime again. It's been really nice out here.
yeah,
It
that's
just started thunderstorming here. Is it raining by you, Matt? Like
no, I think I'm not sure if it's north of us or not, but it's
it's
definitely-
thundering and pouring rain here a few minutes ago.
It's really scattered here right now. Most of the bulk of it's in south of us.
I'm hoping.
I just want to say, Brian, I come on here because of you, because you goaded me into it. So here I am. I'm about ready to jump off so I don't hog the show though.
See, it's not just you, Matt, that gets goaded into coming on
I know.
YouTube Live.
That's good. I mean, that's how we get. That's really the only
The more the merrier.
human.
Yep.
It makes it a wonderful community. When I found these chats, I thought this is better than a bee club any day.
Yeah. I mean,
A lot of these bee clubs are stuck in beginner mode, and that's what's so frustrating for me when I go to my bee club. Is I'm constantly telling them, I said, you guys got to get out of this beginner mode, or you'll never get anywhere.
yeah.
And I try to help them out. I try to, I do a lot of presentations and stuff, and then they re-elect some other beginners or officers. It's just
Yeah, you
constant.
really have to offer with a club. You really have to offer a variety of skill levels so that you're
Exactly.
reaching out to everybody. You're not just only
Yeah.
focusing on one demographic.
You almost have to break your meeting down into 3 different parts.
Yeah, the old heads start wandering off because they get tired of this newbie cycle. I mean, everybody's a newbie sometime or another. I give them that, and I don't want to take that away from them. But you know, sometimes you got to progress, and then you see the same cycle. They buy the bees because they want to save the
Yeah.
planet, and they put the bees in the backyard, and then they kill the bees. Then you see another bunch of planet savers coming out there, and you know, I don't know how many nukes I sold to people, and then they want you to be your mentor. I got spread so thin the last few years. When your hives are suffering because you're helping your students, that's when it's time to scale back your students.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, with our club, we always do the very beginning of the meeting is this month in beekeeping. So that's really what the beginners kind of need. You know, they need to know what's going on right now, what they need to do right now, you know, what's to expect in the next month. So we always try to like hit that in the beginning for all those newbies or less experienced beekeepers. And then we'll have our speaker who might be a little more advanced topic or a specialized topic after that. That way you're kind of like getting kind of paying attention to everybody's needs.
Last time we had a speaker at our club was Brian. That's how stuck in this beginner motor club's at. Yeah. He did a great job that night. Brian, you did a great job that night. Man.
The club that we have also has an apiary, a teaching apiary that usually is typically every other week on a Saturday for at least 3 or 4 hours, I think. So, you know, there's plenty of opportunity for people to
go out and learn.
To get hands-on learning experience as well as educational areas. You know, you kind of mentioned, Peter, about you sell a nuke to somebody and they, you know, sometimes will be a little heavy-handed on your time, right? We've actually, so Melissa and I sell a lot of nukes, and I get the same thing. Some people are worse than others. Some people want you to
babysit them.
Yeah, I guess for lack of a better term, that sounds a little harsh, but babysit them. Where in regard, I tell people, you know, I've had people all the time like, hey, I'd love to just shadow you, you know, in your own bee yard, and, you know, I'll just, you know, be a quiet fly on the wall. And I'm like, you know, I'd love to do that, but I'm like, it never works that way. I'm like,
no, don't. You know why? Because they always want to do it on their time, their time, not yours. Oh, well, I can't do that today. I got to do this.
Well, here's the thing too. Like a newbie wouldn't do them any good to watch I shouldn't say any good, but it's not really going to do them that much good to watch us do what we do in a bee yard, because we do things completely different than somebody with, you know,
150 hives is totally different than a backyard beekeeper. Right. A sideliner trying to teach a newbie as a sideliner, it would slow us.
Well, it would slow us down immensely to try to show them.
Yeah, because it's all production for you guys.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and it really depends too on what your goals are. If my goals are actually trying to grow bees, not produce honey, that's a different strategy, you know, for somebody. You know, so, and I always tell people, I'm like, you know, there's several opportunities. I'm like, come to each one of the meetings. I'm there for 3.5 hours. I'll answer any and all of your questions then. And we also send out some brochures and things of that nature, talking to people when we sell a nuke, showing them what they should be looking for, how frequently they potentially should be getting into it, what they actually need to keep an eye on, what they don't really need to pay attention to. I find that often, this is not all the time, but frequent things that I find people ask questions about stuff that really doesn't matter that much, if that makes sense. Like, I'll give you, for example, hey, I seen a few hive beetles in my hive, and I'm like, don't be concerned with that. Work and focus on creating a very, very strong colony, and then most everything else will fall in place, generally speaking, you know.
Well, thank God we don't have
here. If it wasn't over 100 hive beetles, don't worry about it.
Yeah, right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Thank God we don't have hive beetles here in Colorado. Boy, that's a godsend for us. I hear you all talk about hive beetles, and I think what a nightmare that could be. You know, especially when you see a YouTube video of a slimed out hive because of hive beetles.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're disgusting.
I'm guessing it's you guys' lower humidity and drier climate.
I think it's a lot of things. I think it's really dry here because we're at a high desert, considered high desert here on the Front Range of Colorado, and it's dry. We've got these clay soils that's really inert clay soils, and the altitude, the temperature, we freeze hard in the winter, and I think there's a lot of things against the hive beetles here, but they get them every once in a while. I remember the club, the old president of our Colorado Beekeepers Association, Bev. She told us one time, yeah, we had hive beetles one time in our operation, but it's because of nukes we brought in from the south. They brought them in, but they didn't survive the winter. They didn't survive. They just can't make it through the winter.
Yeah, it would probably, even if you had hive beetles come in because of nukes of where they were brought in from, it would probably be unlikely that they would be able to grow to a point where it would cause you a problem.
Yeah.
Just assuming that.
Yeah.
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 You know, it's just, it's different things like that. And I understand, because I think, like you said, everyone was a beginner at some point in time. We all have questions.
Mhm.
Everybody is, some people problem solve a lot better than other people do. You know, some people need to have their hand held, and I'm not, you know, making
Yeah.
light of it. I'm just saying that's just, some people are very, very needy. Some people are very much, I'll figure this out on my own. That's pretty much, Melissa and I never had a mentor from day one. We just really had taken a few classes to start. We started
out at
beekeeping,
bees.
and we did ask people a lot of questions. We understood different perspectives of people, and we really, as a collective, we tried to figure out our own management technique, how we like doing things, and some stuff was an experiment for us, you know. So,
You know, I'll see these people. They'll come up to me. They always come up to the old heads. They think that we know something, but sometimes we don't. But they'll come up to me, and you could tell the newbies, if there's somebody that's doing their homework, and that's my criteria. If you're willing to do your homework and want to be a beekeeper, heck, I could talk to you all day long.
yeah,
But
that's right.
if you're one of these people that expect you to go out to their apiary and work their colonies for them because they're too intimidated by the bees, I don't have time for that.
Oh, we do. They can happily send me a paycheck to do it if they want to pay. You know, we're happy to do that. I offer a lot of my own time. That's why Melissa and I volunteer with our local club and also our state organization. We volunteer an immense amount of time to it.
Yeah.
But you know, there's time that I have to focus on
How
my
do you
own.
do it? You can only spread Tom so thin, Melissa. How do you do it?
That's all right. We actually manage pretty well. You know, it's not just me or just Melissa. You know, occasionally from time to time, depending on what needs to happen, our boys will help out with different things and such. So
you'd be surprised how easy it is to get these guys to come to your place if you give them that old Tom Sawyer act. That's what I do.
I can whitewash my fence.
Get these mentors to come out here and do all my work for me.
Yeah, I went out there and treated all his hives with acidic acid with my own tool.
Yeah.
He kept saying, "How does that work again?"
Good job.
He really duped me today.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure that his dog was getting sick of him because his dog ended up in my truck, wanted to go home with me. Good old Boz there. He's a good boy.
So JW, what do you call your dog? If you call your donkey dog, do you call your dog?
No, his name is Aloysius P. Bosworth.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah.
Figured that one out. There you go.
He calls him Boz for short.
I like this comment right here.
Melissa's been mentoring Tom since day one. Yeah, Brian, she'll be doing that till the day I die. I'm a slow learner.
That's one good thing about these chats too. You know, we can all help mentor each other. You know,
that's right.
That's what I say. This is the best bee club ever, right here. This best bee club ever.
I agree. You know, keeping an open mind and living your experiences.
And then you get so much people jump in here like Brad Hogue and Ian Stepler, and they'll jump in on these chats and say, "Wow, I'm not worthy. You know,
right?
But yet they're so humble. They'll come in on these chats and talk with us just like he's a backyard beekeeper. You know, it's just, these chats are great. They're just great.
Well, that's one of the, like Tom said, the way we learned is we watched a lot of videos, did a lot of research, asked a lot of questions. But one of the main things that we did was watching YouTube videos of, everybody. And, beekeeping is so centralized to where you are, So stuff that Joey's doing, I can't do in my apiary, but I can take aspects of what he's doing and make it work for me. I can take aspects of what Bob Benny's doing or what Ian's doing and make it work for me. And that's really how we came up with a lot of the stuff that we do, is just watching other people and saying, okay, I like what they're doing, but how can I make that work for me?
Mm-hmm. I'll take these newbies in the club and they'll come up to me and say, they want information. They're just a sponge. They're a sponge. They just want so much information. And I says, the best thing you can do is go to YouTube and start watching YouTube. I give them a list of some good YouTube providers. There's so many good ones out there, but there's so many junk ones out there. And I says, just go on there if they got, I think Matt, you made this comment about Colgate White bee suits, and they're putting on this YouTube video. Well, just click on the next one, But there's so much content on YouTube, and after you watch a few of them, you start thinking, well, this guy seems to know what he's talking about. This guy, and I'll give him a list of the good ones, and like beesource.com. It used to be really good. It's kind of fallen by the wayside here lately.
Yeah.
I don't know what's wrong with BeSource. I'll go on there now, and it's just like it's the same negative bunch on there kicking each other around. But I don't know. It used to be good source of information. But yeah, YouTube, wonderful.
Yeah.
Just getting into beekeeping, I can remember all the different lingos and the terminology and just the different the supersedure and queen cups and everything. It's just like, oh my gosh, and you just have to almost take one of those definitions and then study that, and then how that definition is, or what that means compared to something else in different situations. And it's just like a gauntlet that you almost have to be able to maintain, to go through to find the answers to your questions, and but I think it's with beginning beekeeping, one of the biggest mistakes that probably new beekeepers make is they're afraid to make a mistake. I mean,
they're paralyzed by
I don't know how I didn't roll our first hive that we had. I probably was in that hive last summer. I bet I didn't miss a day that I wasn't in that hive. I mean, all throughout, almost obsessively, I'd get off work. If there'd be an hour left in sunlight, and I would be out there. Just even if I didn't pull a frame, just sitting there staring at the entrance, and for me, obviously I dove in, head first, and I was on a quest, a lifelong quest for knowledge, and, just started in it. I can see.
I always forget that.
Can become so.
Well, there's something for everybody. A newbie could come on here and they could learn a lot off YouTube. But yet, then sidelanders come on here and listen to people like Brad and like Ian, and they could pick up a lot of good on the commercial aspect of it. There's so many commercial people in YouTube now that Greg Rogers and Bob Benny and all that. You could really pick up some good information. And me as a backyard beekeeper, even from these, I watched Brad when he was first starting YouTube, watching him transition. Brad Hogan, back when he was doing OTS and I was doing OTS then, I was so enthused. Oh boy, this guy's into OTS. And then he moved on and now he's grafting, and I watched him progress into a sideliner. It's cool to watch that progression into some of these beekeepers on YouTube. But he's been my go-to follower for a long time, just to watch. And it's just like anybody, he makes mistakes just like I do, but you learn from their mistakes. Yeah, it's a lot cheaper than learning off yours. But
Brad usually comes on here. You hadn't seen him the last couple of times.
Yeah, I miss him when he don't come on. He's good information.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Brad strikes me as an extremely intelligent and extremely intentional. I've tried to take a lot of lessons from the way everything he goes to set out to do, and I'm sure he's so humble. And I've talking with him after the lives, and he is absolutely, I can tell, just an extremely humble human being. So much so that you can tell he's just a very great guy to know and to try to pick up from. So I try to suck it up anytime I can on here, for that matter.
I like Brad, but there's no way I'm going to be keeping shorts. No way.
He's tougher than I am.
Yeah, them short pants are too short for me. I would never go out in the bee yard in those.
It's like I heard Kent William talk, or I've watched a lot of his presentations, and like you said, one of us doesn't know everything, but all of us together, we can be almost dangerous in that sense, that how much we can help each other out, and how much we can all grow. That's really what I'm in it for. Not to be selfish, but I don't feel that I'm able to teach others so many things. I'm able to soak it up, and I'm just humbled by the whole beekeeping thing and what it's done for my life, and what I feel like it could be for others too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just surprised how these YouTube providers have evolved over the last 10 years. I mean, I remember when I first going on there watching Don the Fat Bee Man, and of course I'm still using his hive top feeders that I built years ago. But and I think about it now, and I say, yeah, I don't think I'll beekeep like that. But all these YouTube providers, how they've progressed over the years, have been excellent information now. Just
Mm.
excellent
Look,
information.
I ran a maintenance department with all the craft, every trade, even the mechanic. And for the last 10 years, when they finally gave us YouTube access, a lot of our training come out of YouTube. Anytime we watch a YouTube thing on some kind of part changing on a vehicle we've never worked on, we got the right training down on it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Go in and learn how to
Anytime,
change part stuff.
anytime I do any kind of project, whether it be on the tractors or cars or trucks or anything, I watch several YouTube videos, or even if I'm working on dishwasher, I'll watch several YouTube videos and yeah, that one's better than this one. Yeah, and then I'll go hit the project. And by the time you're done with YouTube, you're an expert.
Yep. Self-trained,
Yeah.
One of my work trucks or something like that, matter of fact, my e-brake cable, I went to go set my e-brake, picking up a tile order, and I put my foot to set the e-brake, and it snapped the cable. So apparently it runs along the frame in the truck. But anyway, I'll have to YouTube that repair and see how easy that'll be. But
there's probably several videos on just that.
Yeah. So yeah, YouTube can be very helpful. There's those gold nuggets. You got to be really good at just kind of like spotting the queen on the frame. You got to be able to see the treasure from the trash. And you kind of see people repeating themselves or maybe saying it a little bit differently, and you're like, holy cow, that guy had to have been full of crap because this person's saying this and that makes sense. I don't know how to say it right, but you just have to have a filter. That's one thing I think. Yeah. New beekeepers, or all of us, need to have a good filter to be able to filter in the good info versus some of the stuff just for airtime or selling a product or
I remember there's an old president of our club. Oh, every time I brought up the internet, it would be source or the YouTube, and say, "Oh no, don't go to the internet for your information." Like go to the books or go to the bee club. You're not going to become that good of a beekeeper just by learning it in the club. I mean, you'll learn the basics, but you're not going to expand to the point where you're going to up your game on it.
Yeah.
Boy, Brian's right there. YouTube University. I think I've got several of them too.
You kind of have to know who to weed out.
Yeah. And that's the skill set that as YouTube watchers, we learn that pretty quick. I mean, that's something you pick up. You got to tell who's the chap between the weeds,
Yeah. I think that's a really important comment that you made there, Peter. You have to understand what is good content and bad. And honestly, if you get a feel for something for me, within about the first 60 seconds of watching something, I can tell you if I'm going to continue to watch it or turn it off.
Yeah, exactly.
Even when I was fairly new, if it seemed like they're very put together, precise the way that they're trying to describe something, I would say it's likely that they may have good content. But if it seems very, very, just kind of like something doesn't feel right, then yeah, absolutely. It's one of those things where you kind of have to understand the good from the bad. But, the one thing I would say, the one good thing that the whole COVID issue came out, what it really did is it did force people to go to a different direction to grab education. Not that all education is good education, but that's something that kind of spiked out of it. Before, most of these researchers and such really didn't probably post a lot of information on YouTube, but when everything got shut down, that was the only avenue for them to get information out. And I think a lot of, I'll give you, for example, some of the, not all, but there's a handful of the original club members and or officers of the club that we were in. Immediately when we had started talking about a few different YouTubers, one of the gals immediately spouted off and said, she goes, there's no good information on YouTube.
Yeah, I got that too.
Yeah. And I didn't say anything. And immediately she follows up. And this just kind of goes to show you how close-minded she is. And really was kind of not a very well thought out comment. Immediately following, she goes, well, I've never actually really watched any of them, and I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, really? I'm like, do you hear yourself right now? And then so I basically kind of explained, I'm like, here's what really kind of happened. I'm like, there's a lot of great scientific research that's been put on YouTube because the platforms that they had before were shut down. and this is where some of that content went. Now, yes, is there bad content creator? Absolutely. But you know what? You need to do your adult duty and kind of narrow that down. You know, I don't know. It's it's just one of those things. I guess.
And there are some good scientific beekeepers now. Look, like Randy Oliver. I mean, he's all over YouTube. He don't have his own channel, but he's all over YouTube, and he's got such good information.
Sure.
And Paul Kelly at University of Golf. Of course, he don't put much out anymore, but for a beginner beekeeper, I point him that way. I says, go look at them old Paul Kelly University of Golf
Absolutely.
videos. That will help a newbie beekeeper more than anything. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And while I'm still on my high horse here, Philip, I want to appreciate you everything you did for the Hives of Heroes. I'm a 20-year vet myself. So as a veteran, I think you're doing a wonderful job there with the Hives for Heroes.
Thank you, Peter, and thank you for your service.
Yeah. It was an honor to put 20 years in for this great country of ours.
We had a discussion with my son. I said, I think he got a Venmo from Sandy Valley Honey Company. I said, I think that's Matt. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's been talked about before. And no, my name ain't Sandy.
Yeah. Matt and Sandy.
That's what's confusing. You don't know when somebody's got their real name up there or something else,
Right.
Well, I get names. We've gotten some, and I was like, I wrote it down, but then I didn't know who it was. But like Tom at Maccabees.
Yeah.
His name, it came in as Thomas, and then like Weinmar or something like that. And I was like, I don't know who that is.
Boehner.
Boehner?
Boehner, Mexican. Boehner.
Okay. But yes, I'm having to learn. I'm having to learn last names now.
Yeah, I don't feel bad. Sonny there, he thought it was Mac too. We talked about that.
I thought the same thing until he said that.
He said, it's not Mac. I said, this name's not Mac. He said, what is too? I didn't know. It's not Tom Mac.
Yeah, I never paid attention.
He lives in Mac, Ohio. That's where the Mac comes from. That's the town he lives in.
For the longest time, Melissa was saying Matt and Sandy. I'm like, it's not Matt and Sandy. I'm like, read this description. Matt W/Sandy. Matt with Sandy. I'm like, his wife is Alicia. It took me a minute to break her of it.
She said, who's the Sandy girl?
Yeah. You could get Matt's butt chewed out the whole time. Yeah. Alicia kept asking, so who's Sandy, Matt? Who's this Sandy girl everyone's talking about?
I'm always in trouble, so it's all
well, you're in good company here, bud. We all are.
So, Philip, I wanted to mention too, and I didn't really clarify that fondant. It's a 50 pounds, and that's a lot, far as just to get. And as far as what I was planning on doing to make it easy is probably would just be portion it up in 2.5 pound packs, and then that way, I mean, I could do it in 5 pound packs, in a gallon Ziploc. Or they can be 2.5 pounds, and individually portioned. That would probably be the easiest way for someone to receive it. But if JW were to have gotten some today, because Tom actually shared, that's what I heard. I appreciate it. No, I know. But that, like, for instance, JW got what was in almost a whole pan. So that actually in the picture is in a basket. That's one of the pans that I make them in, and it's every bit of 18 inches by 12 or so, and almost 3 inches deep. So that's just the
I just got a 4x4 hunk.
He's a liar. You're a liar.
Really, Tom?
So, as far as
the evaporated part of it in transit. I just got a little.
He got hungry on the way there.
Yeah. I got hungry and I was eating it.
Let me run an idea by you guys real quick. There's some people that have entered, like I've sold some tickets at the market and things like that, and those people aren't beekeepers. So they're obviously not going to be interested in Queens or Fondant or, you know what I'm saying? So, or a gift card for Hilco. I was thinking all that beekeeper related stuff, we ought to do that first. And that way, if somebody wins it, I'll recognize them. If they got a phone number next to their name, they're not a beekeeper because nobody sent me their phone numbers. But I think we'll recognize everybody that's so far that's bought tickets. So if somebody wins one of those beekeeper things, is not a beekeeper, I would say we just give them one of the gift baskets and then draw again for the beekeeper stuff until we get a beekeeper that gets it. That sound okay to you guys?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Hey, this is your party, Philip. Whatever you think, buddy.
Yeah. And the other thing is, I only want each person to win one thing, but there's a possibility that their name gets drawn a second time.
Yeah.
I would say we give them, if they can get back to us before the end of the drawing, they can take their choice. And then if they don't, we draw again for that item.
So, Philip, one thing that we could do, Melissa was talking about using the little picker wheel or something like that, or you can use something on there like an iPad or whatever called a picker wheel. So it's a digital spinner.
Well, I was talking about using that at the Nobby dinner.
Oh, that was a Nobby dinner. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Well, so I guess since that's being done on Joey's, however you guys decide to do it, but you could use like a picker wheel thing that you can post up on the screen, and it'll have everybody's name in there. Or you could I don't know. I mean, you could have them all comment to something to it, and then once their name gets drawn, it pulls it off.
The one that comes with the string, don't do it that way. It searches for one word, whatever you put in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, yeah, for the few prizes we're going to do that way, yes. But
okay,
for the raffle, I've got tickets filled out for everybody that's donated. So we were just going to put them posted in a can, and
that makes sense.
Get my daughter or somebody to reach in there and pull the name out, read it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And if it says JW, we're putting it back in there and drawing again.
100%.
Phil, is this guy? He's affiliated with the Hive for Heroes dinner on Friday night, isn't he?
Who are you talking about?
That Hive for Heroes dinner on Friday night at Nobby. Is it same guy? Same outfit?
Oh yeah, Highs for Heroes. The one that's so Friday night when we were at Nobby, that dinner that's going on, I think they sold 250 tickets, and to my knowledge, it's sold out.
Yeah, we got a ticket for that already. Yeah.
That 100% benefits. I think all those ticket costs or prices go straight to the Highs for Heroes program itself.
Yeah, and then when we bought our tickets, they had where you could donate more. You know, so it's a good organization. So you picked up onto a good bunch of people to be with.
Yeah, so I think Steve Jimenez will be there, Matthew Booth, Charlie McMaster, Craig Midget, and I think I'm missing one or two guys, but those are kind of the main guys that I always see affiliated with it. I would be certain that all of them are going to be there.
They got a booth at Nobby too, as well, don't they?
That's right. Yep.
Yeah, they do. They do.
They're located in the same row as Nature's Image Farm, and I forget who else was in that one. But yes, they do. There's actually, so I'll give you another opportunity or way that you can support them too. Like Dan Long with Easy Peasy, he sells the queen cages and a few different things related to queen stuff. He has if you go on his site there through Nobby, Easy Peasy, you can select the red, white, and blue series of queen cages along with the tray and all. And I think he's donating like 15% or 20% of the proceeds from that one straight to Highs for Heroes. So yeah, there's a lot of people that I think that really try to support the organization. I mean, for good cause, for sure. So
that's the same guy that's making them beetle traps for Mike Berry. And Mike Berry had on.
No, that's actually a different guy. That's a different guy.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know too much about the guy that Mike Berry, and I think he is going to be a distributor at Nobby, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
I thought I stumbled across his name, but I don't remember now who that was. I think Mike listed on his video if anybody was interested a few weeks back or something, maybe more.
Not that I need beetle traps, but It seemed like
Yeah, you don't need them, Peter. I mean, shit, that's useless for you.
I've got 50 of those things because you have to buy that many to get them down to about $1 a piece, and they're just I don't even use them. That's another giveaway we could have if y'all want.
I think I bought 2 of those in my whole beekeeping career, and I never used them again. You know,
I threw 4 or 5 on my hives when I first got them, and they didn't really seem to work.
mm-hmm.
I think they only work if you put that roach poison in them.
So the way, you know, our hive beetles around here, the way I view them is kind of like crocodiles swimming around the castle moat. You know, as long as you didn't, you know, the hive itself didn't falter, you know, there's nothing, no danger that could come of it. You know, you're safe inside, you know, but if it went queenless for a certain amount of time or something, you know, were to happen, too small, low population, you know, those hive beetles they're kind of like the equalizer, you know. Yeah. So
strong colonies cures a lot of the ills.
Strong colonies and full sun, and we don't have any issues, luckily. But we would, you know, if you know, if we let them get the upper hand, I'm sure.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I don't have too bad a problem with them. Every once in a while I'll open it up and might see 20, but that's rare. It's usually 2 or 3.
Hey, JW, I was meaning to ask you. Well, Melissa wasn't mean to me while I was absent, right? Did she behave herself?
I can't hear you. What'd you say?
Yes, you can. You heard me just fine. Answer the question.
Oh, while you were before you got back on.
Put your ear up to the screen.
I said I can't hear you. I got a banana in my ear. What'd you say?
You're fine. You heard me.
I got JW on my tie here.
Hey, there he is. I think he started to work on growing his beard.
Cowboy handkerchiefs is what I thought.
That's you know what? You know how come that tie is so clean?
Yeah.
Because it's a Santa ties.
Oh God.
Dad jokes ready.
There you go.
She was actually worried about where you was. I told her I probably out there with that woman you left with.
I highly doubt that, JW.
We need to email DC some hive beetles.
There you go. How many does he want?
Yeah.
Now, see, that's the craziest thing. You know, I was just talking about the condensing hive, you know, with Peter and the success we have with that. But DC up there, you know, I don't know. I don't think that he could pull off the condensing hive necessarily. I think he said that he's tried that before and it's not worked.
Too wet up there. Yeah, up in the Pacific Northwest. Yeah.
The whole winter, the winter stress, just wondering how your bees are doing, if they have condensation on them, if they're dry, if they're, I mean, that's, you know, that's tough for all of us, you know, and I think really the only thing we can do is kind of gain confidence in whatever's either worked for us in the past or what we've found others have taught us or what have you. So it's just getting those tools sharpened and believing in whatever system that you utilize and doing it, making sure if you're putting on a feeder shim and they don't have time to propolize that gap, then don't be afraid to tape it. You know, every one of my winter feeding shims have duct tape on them. I mean, I look like an absolute Hoosier of a beekeeper, but you know, I take care of the Gorilla Tape, and that Gorilla Tape takes care of me. You know, it doesn't in the rain. It doesn't matter if it's below freezing. That you know, just little intentional things like that have come a long way.
Yeah. Speaking of Gorilla Tape, did you guys look at the Knobby floor plan and see that Gorilla Glue has a booth?
Yeah, really? They're trying to compete with Type Bond.
I mean, as a carpenter, Type Bond 3, I don't think there's a better glue than that. You know,
I've been using Type Bond for a long time. I'm a woodworker, and I've been using that for decades, and it's the best glue ever.
Now Gorilla Tape, it's pricey. I think Home Depot's got a 50-yard roll for $14.
Well, but maybe they'll have a deal at Knobby. They got a table.
Maybe I've already
Back-
bought my 100 rolls for this season, but
yeah,
maybe get up for next year because I believe in it. Because man, I tell you what, every time I pop those insulated covers off, it's like I'm walking into the YMCA at the pool. I mean, it's just this warm plume of heat, and you can feel it through your veil. It's
The best video I seen on that condensing hive was with Bill Heschbeck and Dr. Peck.
Yeah.
Boy, if you watch that video, I mean, sure, Tom and Melissa couldn't do this, not with 150 hives, building all these insulated boxes, but if you watch that video, it'll sure sell you on the concept of a condensing hive.
That was a really good video.
That was an excellent video. Yeah. I mean, they thought so highly of it, they printed it in the Better Bee catalog.
Yeah, Bill Hesbach sold me on it, and then after starting watching some Etienne Tardif up there, oh man,
yeah, he's a numbers guy. He'll boggle you with them numbers, and okay, whatever you say there, Intel.
And then in the lower 48, we have Brian C. You know, he's doing almost the same data. I mean, how awesome is that to have? You know, for all of us to be able to learn from, you know, I mean, that's great. He's out there with his thermal camera, just like DC, and doing thermal imaging of hives and
all that technical equipment ain't gonna make you a better beekeeper. You could buy a lot of wood for what you're paying for them broodminder sensors and stuff like that. But yeah, if they're alive in the spring, you're a good beekeeper. You did everything right. I don't normally lose hives unless they go queenless.
I like to watch on Brian's videos how they're gaining or losing weight. To me, that's very interesting.
Yeah,
he'll post that week by week, and you'll be able to see whether they're on a flow or not, just based on whether they're gaining weight or losing weight.
Yeah, years ago, that Devin Rouse, he's a Canadian beekeeper, he was a YouTube provider. I haven't seen a video from him for years, but he had a couple hives on scales, them old big scales and stuff, and it's interesting to see on a heavy flow. Of course, he's up in Canada on a heavy flow how much you could gain in a week. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Or lose.
I don't know who this Mr. Sam Happy Bees is.
You know, that's Bob's mentor. That's Bob Walker's mentor. He's got a YouTube channel. Keeps most of his bees in 5-frame nukes.
I probably just didn't catch his name when I saw him.
Yeah, Sam's Happy Bees.
I'm gonna have to jump off here, guys. I do appreciate you letting me in because I got a low battery. I'm gonna go plug in, and I don't think you need to hear Cornelius TV in the background. It's nice meeting you all. I'll get my face out there.
Good day.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Peter.
Nice meeting you, Peter.
Yeah.
Thanks for goating me, Brian, into this.
Good night. Yeah, I haven't seen much from Sam lately. I thought I saw a video with him maybe a couple weeks ago.
Another one I haven't seen lately much either. I was just thinking about was Jason Christman up in Ohio, that JC's, the farmer up there. He had a video about every 1 or 2 a week here for a while, and I haven't seen him for a good while.
Yeah, he's got a ton of subscribers.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Well, I tell you what, making videos and trying to beekeep that's a tough gig. I mean, that's unless you have someone that's standing there actually recording you. When you're standing in front of 45 hives, you have to get through to do whatever you're doing. That's tough to do, you know. And so yeah, that's a lot of my videos are pretty short and sweet for that reason. You know, I'm not much of a cinematographer either, but
exactly.
We got plenty of footage that I can make videos, but it's like it takes so much time to edit it and put it all together.
Yes. Yeah, that's the big thing. And it's kind of daunting when you sit down and it's like, oh no, I've got 2 hours of footage here. I've got to figure out how to get it down to 20 minutes. It's just a pain.
I've actually thought about because I have a lot of videos actually on Facebook from when we first started beekeeping. I thought about converting those and putting those on our YouTube channel.
You just do like I do. What few I make, I don't edit.
Yeah.
Yeah, but nobody's going to sit there and watch. Nobody wants to watch me walk back to the house to get my smoker or my hive tool or whatever else I forgot 4 or 5 times during one inspection.
Well, you got to be a little better prepared, Philip. Plan your day.
That's one thing I tell you what, getting out yards will do. Will make you think about what you're taking with you for sure.
Oh yeah, well,
I was well planned. Tom came out and had a brand new bag of oxalic acid. I knew I had it someplace. We looked for it for what, better part of an hour before it ever showed up.
Yeah. That's all him and I did today is we just walked around everywhere looking for something that we didn't know where he put it.
That's what I spend half my life doing anymore.
Yeah.
Looking for stuff that I put in a place where I'd know right where it was when I needed it. I just forgot where that place was.
Exactly.
Hey, you know what I was just noticing about your background?
Well, yeah.
Now look at your background.
You've been sneaking in photos on me. I charge for those, you know. If you're on camera,
Yeah.
you're supposed to notify a guy when he's on camera. It's against the law if you don't notify.
Well, hey, I'm looking. I don't see you in any of these pictures. Let's see. Hey, so Matt, there's part of the that's 400 Pro Nukes, and that's only a 7-foot flatbed. So
Nice.
we got them on there.
That looks like the scene off the Beverly Hillbillies.
That's all the lids right there. I got all the lids on the backside.
Wow.
It actually worked out pretty good. Me and JW brainstormed that pretty well to figure out how that was going to work out because, you know, driving that distance, we didn't want anything to get damaged, blown off or whatever. So I had brought out that perforated tarp and we got it situated on there.
Nice.
And because those 2 pallets he had on the back of his dually, they were probably, what do you think, JW, 7 or 8 foot tall?
Yeah. I think he told me those were 81 inches tall.
Thank you, Clay.
So, I mean, I didn't want to haul anything that high, you know,
Right.
so we had to figure out how to break it down and set it in there, but it actually worked pretty good on that single wheel flatbed, you know, width wise, you can get 7 of those Pro Nukes all the way across within that area there. And it's
Actually worked out almost perfect. It just actually fit the bed pretty almost perfect.
Whose flatbed was that?
Oh, that was one of my work trucks. That's what I hauled over there.
I'm jealous of that. I want one of those.
What'd you say, JW?
I said, I keep telling you that them aren't trucks. Those are Chevrolets.
Oh, yeah, my bad. Yeah, that's not a truck. Hey, don't tell Matt down below you. Don't tell him that. He's going to be offended.
No offense. No.
I think what I'm thinking about doing is the next time I go out there to Soapstone Farms, I'm going to be hauling back that F-350 that's out there. That thing's the cat's meow. She's barely even broke in, too.
It looked like a Lincoln on the photo I saw.
I doubt it.
Oh, I bet the ride's nice. You know, it's for sure. Yeah, I'm excited about the Pro Nukes. That's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
Well,
Philip, I got the picture deal figured out.
You did.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
See if I can do it again.
That's always the trick. You're doing it once and then seeing if you can repeat
Yeah.
that.
I found an old monitor I had stored up in the attic.
So you have 2 screens now?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
But can you zoom in on those things?
Yeah. Let's see. Let me get it back up.
you'll be worse than Quinby here. You
I
little
zoom
boy,
in a little bit.
Tech.
I figure out where to go with my mouse.
Hey, JW, right now he's got 2 screens free. No, he's going to have 6 of them up there.
He's gonna be like Lee before too long, right?
Yeah,
Pretty
that's
good.
Exactly
what
what's
JW
going to
was
happen.
saying.
He'll be just like Quimby. He'll be.
That's right.
have a whole studio.
Uh-huh.
So, does anybody know how to get a hold of Greg Burns?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was hoping that they would promote our raffle tomorrow. He said he would, but
Yeah.
I'll
he made
email
it.
it. I'll email it to him.
Yeah, email the individual pictures and the
Hey,
brochure.
Philip, do you want me to send you his email and you can send him over an email?
Yeah, I'll send him a note.
I'll forward it to you here.
They have some people that watch that don't ever see our thing, so it might be, good deal to get it
I
on
think
there.
they'll be on Greg's channel tomorrow too. I think
really?
that's what they said last week, that they were going to be on Greg's channel this week.
Yeah, that's right, because he's cutting off his knobby sales tomorrow night at midnight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't believe that's coming up so quick.
It's insane. Christmas is next week. That's crazy.
So, some of us still have honey risers to build. You know what I'm saying, Philip?
No, I've built them all. They're done.
I know. I'm just teasing.
Unless I started thinking about trying to build some more, but I got to thinking about Christmas,
Nature Immense Farms.
and then like 2 days after Christmas, I'm having a little outpatient surgery, and then I've got 12 hours of continuing education to do before the end of the year. So yeah, I'm probably not getting any more built.
They look really nice.
Well, I'm looking forward to. John Hill's got those carts. He's going to have a bunch of them this year, and he's got one reserved for me, and he's going to mount me a king stuffed chair on it.
Yeah.
And, there's a lady from down here by St. Louis that's going to push me around.
Yeah.
I'm selling tickets for photographs with you. That's how I'm gonna pay my gas money. For my trip.
Well, y'all come to St. Louis for ours, and we're gonna have JW sitting there on his own, just signing autographs of.
That's
right. That's a draw right there. That's a draw right there.
Yeah, I'm excited about February's conference too, or the workshop.
That's Mr. VIP.
He's gonna be giving out 8x10 glossies with his signature on them.
Yeah. You can choose whether you want the Santa beard or no beard.
Well, I was thinking in February we'll have him wear like a bee costume.
Ooh, that would be good too. I'd pay to see that.
They always pick on the old man for some reason. I can't understand why. He's such a nice fella.
I didn't realize you were old until you said something. I just forwarded you a couple of a little bit of information, Philip.
Cool.
So, JW, if Melissa was to push you around in that cart, what would you say if we put 2 seats on there? And I'll run shotgun with you, and then I can be, that way if too many people get on there and start getting in line to get your autograph, I can run them off for you. How about that?
I'm sure that'd be a problem.
Yeah, that
would be a big problem.
Oh yeah. We'll just have to work out the price. What kind of steak dinner that'll be, and all. We'll get.
I was reading. I'm going back and reading some of the comments. Yeah, Brian C knows about. He's also probably got to do his continuing education too. He's probably on top of things, already has it done.
That like the age, yeah.
That's pretty good, Roy.
What is I'll hold off till March, Philip? I don't know what that's all about.
Once I get that exposed to 2 days.
I think she's talking about our workshop.
Nancy, I'm assuming that you mean the workshop that we have to 2 days. That's going to be a hard one. I mentioned that one time, and I almost had to dodge bullets.
It takes a lot of volunteers to pull off one day, much less 2 days. I've kind of got it to 2 days though, if you think about it. If you include the honey training council class and the dinner, and the vendor area is going to be open at 3, so it's kind of 2 days.
So I would say this: if you did a 2-day conference, I'll tell you the biggest cost that we have is those venue spaces. Those things are expensive, and you have to buy. Most of these places, you have to buy X amount of food, and I'm telling you, you have to drop a pretty big chunk of change for that, Nancy. So you would basically be looking at probably about double the cost, almost. Or I'd say you'd probably look at double the cost. So, by the fact that Cayman can put on a couple or 2.5 day conference for $160,
that's insane.
That is insanely cheap. He could ask more money for that conference if he wanted to, and I'm pretty sure people would still pay it. Now that might weed some people out, but he has to do a lot of finagling to get that ticket price to $160.
Yeah, I don't know how he does it.
Well,
I'm not sure either, Philip. That's a really good question. The only thing I would say is
that's why they don't have food anymore.
The fact that he doesn't have food, that's going to be
look at that pretty thing. Shut up, Sussman. I'm looking at this pretty little girl. I won't listen to you.
I don't want to share his business too much, but I visited with him for a while about just putting on that honey show. He spends a ton of money on that because he has to pay like one judge for every 38 entries. He's got to have another judge.
Right.
And that because he has so many, he's got 30 something judges at that thing. And
he has to cover their hotel rooms and
the food and everything. Yeah. Thanks.
John Hill is sponsoring. I don't know if he's covering the entire honey show or how much of the honey show, but John is sponsoring the honey show at Navi.
Yeah.
I don't know how much of it, but
he's dead set to he wants to break that record of number of entries. So he's not ready to charge people to enter right now.
I mean, I know what we're paying to have the honey show at our workshop, so I can only imagine what Cayman has to pay.
Yeah, that's not going to be cheap.
I mean, the judges are volunteers, but you still got to cover their expenses.
Well, not all of them are.
So the head judges are not volunteer.
Are they not?
They charge for the head judges, and then all the stewards and the secretaries they are volunteer.
Yeah.
So like Brett's English, Pam Carter, I think Stephanie Slater, and Steve.
Yeah, I don't remember Steve's name. He's a senior judge.
All the senior judges. They charge for the senior judges.
Yeah, and it's not only just the stipend you have to give them, which is not astronomical. It's really the hotel room costs for each one of them per night. That adds up. Melissa had to work really hard to sell all the board members on doing a honey show, and she basically almost put together a presentation to show and do a lot of homework up front on a whim that they may not approve that. So there was still a couple people that were still kind of on the fence about not wanting to do it. And we really had to push pretty hard to get that here in St. Louis. And then Melissa also had reached out to a bunch of people about getting donations for it to help offset the costs on things like that. So, so Nancy, we really don't have 2 day per se. It's really a one full day, but the day before we'll have a lot to do with honey judging and stuff. I would be up for the challenge to do it, but that's going to be a hard sell.
It's a big ask.
It's a big ask because it's a huge investment and cost. And if they don't get all the people in the seats for that for 2 days, and thinking of that at an elevated cost too, that could be a very easy position to lose money on. And they're pretty conservative about a lot of things, which I understand.
Bob Benny is the great honey taster.
Yeah, it always amazed me in Bob's videos. He could taste some honey and tell you exactly what's in it. Almost a percent.
That's experience there, isn't it, Matt?
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Well, there's your one, Melissa.
I know, that's exciting. What are you going to enter in the honey show, Jay?
There was 20 categories, I think.
Yeah.
Everything from extracted honeys, light, amber, dark, creamed honey, a couple different mead ones, wax block, candles. I can't remember. And then some baked goods. So basically the 4 categories would be extracted honey, creamed honey, baked goods,
candles,
wax, and then meads. That's kind of the categories per se. And then there's subcategories of each one of those basically.
You're having meads?
Yep.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. There's actually a handful of people in our club that are actually mead makers.
I told you, I forgot to take you over. And,
you did.
Bring it on.
Yeah.
Extracted, amber, creamed, and wax. Well, I will be competing against you, JB.
Extracted, amber.
I actually, 6 months ago, I didn't know what mead even was. Now I are one. That's the truth. I just bottled it 3 days ago.
DC said, "Do they have a comb honey? Not at our at our workshop. There's a whole list of categories you can choose from, and we wanted to cut it off at 20. So those are just the categories that we picked to have at our show. At Nobby, there is several comb honey categories.
Yeah,
it's not hard to do, DC. You can get online, and that's what I did. Did a little reading on it, and I just started making some. It takes it about it depends, but it takes about a month for it to I call it cooking. It ferments.
Mm-hmm.
I just actually ordered all the ribbons today.
Did you put my name on that one?
Yep, I did.
Thank you.
Well, it's being sponsored by Via Honeybees. How about that? Huh?
The ribbons are, yeah.
I wouldn't doubt if you got it planted. That's what I tell them.
Yep. I went over to JW's and I got a whole bunch of stuff I got to sell now that I can, so I can make some money to pay for it.
Yeah, Jay, you really have to read through those rules to make sure you get everything just right.
That's right. Yeah, follow those rules to a T. When you go to the Nobby site, there's a spot on there for the honey show.
You make as much out of this deal as I've made. Well, you'd be a wealthy, wealthy man.
I'm working toward it. Okay.
This trip, I'm talking about the trip today. You get what I got.
Yep. Yeah, so JB, the rules that will be like for ours are very, very similar to everything else in the honey shows. There was a couple small tweaks on things that we had to make specific to our event, but everything is judged pretty harshly with those criteria on there. So if that was something you're up for the challenge, definitely bring a lot of stuff, submitting that in every category. I think the more people we have submitting it, the better off it'll be. And actually, you'd have the opportunity. The more you enter, the more points that you get, even by gaining a second or third place, the more points that you get, you could win the Grand Champion Award. So we ordered that. And then what was the other one?
Best in Show.
There's a Best in Show and a Grand Champion, and then a first, second, and third ribbon in each one of them.
Except for Black Jar only has a first place.
Yeah.
And then the Grand Champion and the Best in Show actually will also get $100 cash award too.
Yep. JW, you can bring your honey over for the Black Jar and ours.
I'm not bringing no honey to Missouri. I'd be all over against this clean guys from the clean side of the river.
Hey, Matt, I think he's intimidated by us, buddy.
It's all right. It's. I don't think JW is easily intimidated, but
yeah, that's all right. He is by us, though. That's okay. We're not going to hold it against him.
So, Clay, that's one of the things we talked about in that honey training council class.
Yeah.
Was the glass. And since all the glass is recycled glass now, it is really hard to find a perfect jar. So they actually don't count air bubbles and imperfections in the glass itself against you, unless it is a really
They say minor.
severe, if it's a really severe imperfection. Minor imperfections they do not count against you for.
Yeah.
With the American Honey Training Council judges, that is.
Yeah.
Each honey show is going to be different depending on who the judges.
Hey, Philip, you have two screens open.
Yeah. That works.
You want us to close one of them?
Yeah, close the black one there.
Go to the 3. Yeah, there you go.
I think I dropped my. Oh gosh, I'm good. Are you guys hearing an echo?
Not anymore. There was.
Okay, I'm still
Oh, that
hearing an echo on my end.
Go to the 3 dots.
Hey, you
I
brought me bad luck, Sonny. Or
Let's
good
see.
luck. Right after you left, the guy pulled in, took 14 pounds.
Kick them. Okay, there. Is that any better now, Philip?
Yep, that's better.
Okay. Are you saying I'm bad luck?
So you were good luck.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
About 10 minutes after you left, went down the road, the guy pulled in, bought 10 pounds.
No, he
Wow.
didn't.
I'm telling you the God's truth.
Oh my gosh! Right after we hauled it all in the garage, huh?
I had to go ahead and get it
That's
in
funny.
and bottle some more. I didn't even have that much bottled up. They wasn't all in 1 pound bottles.
Oh, holy cow! That's awesome.
That's a good problem.
Oh, hold on. Actually, here, I'll show a picture of that.
He's putting out all my secret weapons. They'll be coming from miles around. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
right there.
Better.
That's
Nice.
JW's
Feather flag.
his feather flag and his honey sign.
Cool.
He's
been
made $1 million.
sneaking all kinds of photos in on me today. I didn't.
JW didn't know you were taking spy photos.
Yeah, he did.
Hopefully you weren't bending over in front of him.
Hey, I don't have photos like that, man.
I don't think his lenses are that wide anyway, Matt.
If he'd bent over, I could just give him a little kick, push him over the rest of the way, and be like, "Get up and quit playing around. We got work to do."
So did Tom keep you busy today, JW? Running you all around?
I about wore my tongue out.
He talked more than I did. Tell you what, he actually had to stop.
Possible.
He had to stop and eat lunch today just to recoup some energy, and he doesn't normally do that. No, what we were talking about doing is going over there to the lake by JW's house, going to bring the wake boat over, and he's going to get up on the surfboard and do some wake surfing out there. That's what he really has aspirations to do.
Yes, sir.
You're gonna stir up all those crappie beds on you, JW. You know?
That's what we need to do. Got him all stirred up, and he can come back behind him with the bass boat.
You know what I call them folks, don't you, Matt?
What's that?
Certified idiots.
Man, I don't take no offense by him. I just giggle. I just laugh.
I'm
So
on the
Joe-
fishing boat myself, you know. So I feel your pain when those big waves come by you, you know.
Yeah, if those guys are doing that around those fishermen, that is pretty ignorant.
Yeah.
So Bob didn't have a show tonight?
No,
No one's heard from him or knows what's going on. So.
He was on last week, I think, wasn't he? Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Last-
Mm-hmm. Sure was.
Just been working a lot. I tried to get my last round of OA in for the December month, but I missed it. I was just filling up any of the hives that needed another fondant patty before this next cold spell. But I tell you, I'm definitely impressed with how they're consuming it, you know, to be honest. And I have nothing to sell. You know, there's no product that I'm selling behind it.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on what works for me at a cheap cost and to produce it. Does take a little bit of time, but you know, it's sure coming in handy because there's definite hives that I can feel. Not that they're getting light. I'm not saying that, but Tom and JW, as you know, in our area, there's let's, the last month or so, at least half of that time, if not a little bit more than that's been 40s or 50-degree days to where they're
Yeah,
off.
I call them fly days. Yeah, we've had a bunch
They're-
of them on.
So I've actually opened. We have some long cedar planks that I actually take about 10 pounds of that fondant, and I just go on down the whole thing and just smear a layer of fondant out on it. And the next day I'll come back and they have cleaned every single. Can't even tell anything on it. It's just pure cedar again. So
You're kidding me.
no, I mean they absolutely. Yeah, you can easily use an open technique too, which I find being pretty helpful on the days where there's nothing out there other than water or propolis collection for them. Really,
I call those robin stations.
yeah, you could. Yeah, I'd set some of that fondant out, and see what they do with it. And the consistency when it comes out of the pan, like when I cut it into size with the pizza cutter, that state I would consider kind of like a soft sugar brick.
Yeah.
But if you take that brick and put it in a Ziploc bag, and then begin to kind of mash it up, if you will, with your fingers, it's kind of like kinetic sand in the sense that it'll dent with your fingertips. I mean, it's not a hard sugar brick; it's actually soft.
Oh yeah.
I put just the bricks in, and they eat it, but it kind of reminds me a little bit of the dry sugar bricks in the sense that I feel like the surface area is not as great as if you actually mash it up, kind of almost like mashed potatoes, kind of like a Hive Life fondant, and the flat in that bag. And then I'll just take my razor blade and just cut like 5 slits in it, or even do a square opening and just set that square opening up so they can access it from the bottom at the slits. And then if they're, with that condensing hive setup, they're in there meandering and crawling all around anyway. So they can also access it from that top square that I cut out. And
Hey, Matt, I have a question for you. So that you gave me one small baggie, and you had laid out with the marker and I gave that one to JW along with another one of those big patties or whatever.
Yeah.
Now on that smaller one where you had laid out in there how you normally do it, and you put the marks on it. Yeah. That one I left there. That one seemed a little bit softer than the other ones. Was there something different about that one?
So that one would have been just broken up. So it would have been the same as the block state when it's cooled down out of the pan and it's set up. But when you put it in Aggie, you can actually break it down into almost whatever consistency you want. It'll definitely get more mashy or mushy the more. I have some right here.
Yeah.
You can see it just it's in a 5-gallon Ziploc bag. But it'll lay flat. And this is actually some of it that I'll put out for open feed because it is, it's just extra. But so that's about a 5-pound pack of it. So real similar to what Hive Alive would be,
Yeah.
And this is sitting out at room temperature too. It's not
cool or cold
in the refrigerator or anything like that. Yeah.
So you're just cutting a few slits on the bottom of that bag and laying it right on top of the frames.
Yep. Well, on top of in my feeding shim, so I have a 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch metal cloth, and then I have a bee space on the underneath side of that shim, so they can access fully underneath of it.
That's right.
And they'll actually through those slits, they'll actually eat all the way up to the top. So I've done it about every way from Sunday. I've put it in just like a Hive Alive pack and just turned it over slowly, and they eat up to it, and you can see the little window where they've cleaned it out and when they're ready for another one. And then I've done the slits and then only slits to see if they can still access it. And they can. They get right into it, no problem. So
whenever I fed the Hive Alive fondant last year for the first time, I basically just took one side of it and I cut out a square that was probably, I don't know, maybe 2.5 by 2.5. Just took my razor blade out of my truck, cut a slit in it, pulled that off there, and I slapped it right down on top of the frames, and that's how they ate it. So they would go up inside the bag and eat it and such,
Yeah.
Seemed to work all right too, I guess.
So the only thing I noticed with the Hive Alive is that towards the end of it always seemed like they were leaving about a 1/2 inch around the corners of the bag. I guess the furthest away from the center is the way I'm that. And not that any of it goes to waste, because I would just, if one got that low, I would get it out of there and just put it in there anyway. have them consume it that. But with this, the homemade fondant, what I've noticed is it stays pliable. They consume every bit of it. I mean,
Okay.
the only thing left in there really is just the plastic and then some fresh drawn wax. It seems like it's a little stimulative towards a little wax production, which tells me that they're able to consume it, maybe do some housekeeping with it, whatever they're trying to freshen up on some comb. And at this time of year in December, I think that that's definitely a good sign as far as however they're able to utilize those inverted sugars almost immediately. You know,
Mhm.
I don't know if it's possible for them to store it, you know, other than, you know, just being able to pass it back and forth to each other, you know, nurse bead.
Yeah, that's a good question.
But I know that none of the colonies are in danger of becoming too light, you know, with that on there. I'm confident in that, especially with the way that some hives are consuming it and some aren't. So, and all of them are consuming it a little bit, but some are just going through it a little bit more. And I like to, you know, we have a lot of, you know, our queens are mutts, but the Italian leaning types of bee, I feel like are eating more than the carniolan based genetics.
Yeah.
Yeah, they will naturally.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's their nature.
So that's some of those Italians. They're hot engines. You know, I mean, there's some of those are in 3 deeps and they're solid bees. I don't know how many frames of bees because I haven't cracked them fully open, but
No.
they're not just at the top when I go in to feed them. You know, they're
Yeah. JW, you had one of those out there at your yard, if I'm not mistaken, right? On that triple,
One of those what?
a triple deep.
Yeah, I think I've got 3 or 4 of them. That's triples.
Well, there was the nuke that was a triple, and then there was, I think, next to that one, I think it was an 8 frame, or that was an 8 frame, I think, that was triple.
I've got 3 8 frames. It's triples.
Oh, okay.
Did somebody answer DC's question?
Yeah, I think this question
Yeah.
here was directed
I'm
to you.
just experimenting with some of those to see how they winter compared to one another. I've got records wrote down on what they all are and what they went in with and all that. I just most of it's just kind of experimental on some of those, you know, 3 deeps.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a couple that I left in 3 deeps that were still pretty full, and I just left them alone. I was breaking some of them down, and it was starting to get cool and cold, and I didn't want to start messing with the nest too much because they were moving around in a couple of those boxes, so I didn't want to disturb them that much.
I think personally my favorite overall, and whether they be 8s or 10s, is 1 deep and 1 medium. You know, for this area here, I don't want this 1 deep box.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah, I don't think you're wrong. I don't want to use a medium because all my mediums I reserve solely for honey, and I don't want them chance to getting up in there and brooding in it. But that's just me.
So, hey, my phone is just about dead, and I'm falling asleep over here. So I'm gonna get off of here, guys.
All right, we're about to go to.
Okay, I appreciate you. We broke $900 today, so that was a pretty big deal, I think.
Oh, it's awesome.
Where's my phone?
Hey, with all those prizes in there, I would hope, there's your phone. I'd hope that would break even a higher amount than that. You know, by the time this is all said and done, it'd be nice to see $1,200.
So that's so 900 is 180 tickets sold.
Yeah.
Yeah, a couple new prizes have been added to there.
DC,
we got a couple of questions here. Somebody's asking. We're going to answer them, and we dropping down in numbers here, so we're going to get off here pretty quick.
Mm-hmm.
DC was asking, what is the difference from fondant and pollen patties? Just the pollen?
I mean, pretty much fondant is
the carbohydrate.
Mostly sugar based, where your pollen patty is going to have some sugar in it, but it's going to be more pollen
proteins.
Yeah, proteins. You know, the fondant is used just to get the bees through winter for that food, where the pollen patty is used to kind of help them start brooding up. So they have that protein in the hive when there's a deficit of it out in nature.
Jay's asking, Matt, do you add live or any other supplement to your fondant when mixing?
Yeah, at the end of it when it's cooling down. So I'll start whipping it at about 125 degrees or so. And then at that point, after I've frothed it up and incorporated some air into it, I will put in a little bit of Hive Alive and some Apis in the batches that I've made so far and have been testing out. So it just depends on how much of a batch that you're actually making. But yes, I do add a little bit of Hive Alive and a little bit of Apis to it.
That probably answers this question your wife's asking. Someone asked, can you see it?
Not fully.
Someone asked what the benefits is using fondant versus sugar brick. I think you covered that earlier, didn't you?
Yeah.
The additive is probably one of the, but any other thoughts?
Yeah.
Matt?
It's just really just the inverted sugars, and the bees have in the condensing bees, they have water throughout that hive anyway that they can access. But from what I've seen, like the mountain camp method, that pure sugar just kind of gets treated as debris and usually gets hauled out more than they consume it. From what I've seen.
I don't know if I see any more questions or not.
I think that's all I saw.
The one I seen too, Joey.
All right, I think I'm gonna go ahead and close the chat down. I want to thank Clay for the super chat there. Appreciate everybody coming in on the chat. Well, a lot of them's gone. I guess if they come back and watch it, they can hear me say I appreciate them coming. Well, thank all y'all for being in the studio. Let me see if I can find the end stream button here. My eyes are getting heavy too. See y'all Saturday. Well, we got tomorrow the stream team. I think Philip's going to be there.
Probably going to try to. Ricky on Thursday is giving away that horizontal hive to one person who was on the thing. Oh, sorry, never mind. Only Joey's going to be watching on Thursday.
JW, don't watch this. She's got the diarrhea mouth, buddy.
So, Thursday at 7:30, one person who is watching the stream will win one of Ricky's horizontal hives. So don't miss that. And then Charlie's Friday, and then Joey and Philip will be drawing names on Saturday.
Awesome. We'll see y'all later. Good night, everybody.
Night.